usually have a backward C pawn. Now I'm not going to have a backward C pawn because I'm going to trade it for the D pawn. And knight a6 misplaced. But, oh, queen c1.
Oh my god. That was a mouse sleep?
Yeah. Jan was like, oops.
Yeah.
Oh, he won on time!
She was on a winning position for her.
I wanted it so bad, and he did it.
Now take the rook! What a move!
Welcome, everyone, to the Speed Chess Championship. Grandmaster Robert Hess here with International Master Sopiko Guramishvili. Sopiko, I'm so glad you could join me today.
Hello, everybody. I'm really happy to be back here. And with you, Robert, I have to be honest that I really missed commentating with you.
It's been a long time since Wednesday, where we commentated Tata Steel. So how's everything been?
Perfect. It was really very nice. And I'm very, very happy to be covering this exact match because Alina is playing. And, you know, she is the winner of the Women's Speed Chess Championship.
Yeah, I was about to say, you know, we'll catch up more off camera. But what I was going to say was you were here for Alina's whole journey, how she managed to claw her way through a very tough Women's Speed Chess Championship. You had the call with Anna Rudolph. So why don't you tell some of the people here a little bit more about Elina Danielian?
Yeah, she was amazing, actually. She entered the competition as a qualifier, and she was underdog in every match. But she did beat the Women World Blitz champion, Katerina Lafnau. Then she beat Harika Dronevali. And in the match, in the finals, with Valentina Gunina, when everybody thought that Valentina would win the finals, she won an exciting, great, nerve-wracking match. She came back from a 4-point deficit. It was amazing.
It really was. I watched pretty much every single match of the WSCC. And, well, you know, we're about to be the top of the hour. The games are about to begin. But let's, you know, we got to give the players their due. Alina, as you mentioned, she really fought every single match, a nail-biter. She made it through. And Jan Nepomniachtchi, at this point, needs relatively little introduction. He is a part of the Grand Chess Tour, so people saw him just compete in the World Cup. He is a blitz bullet phenom. And, well, the games are off here. We see that Jan starts with the white pieces.
Yeah, C4, English opening. I'm sure that Alina will try to change the opening in every game because that's what she did in the Women's Speed Chess Championship.
I was about to ask you because I did watch that. She was playing many different openings. And against Jan, of course, she faces a huge uphill battle, right? Jan is one of the absolute best players in the world. Alina, to her credit, is a strong grandmaster herself, but she doesn't play as frequently as she used to. We saw her just before the show. She was talking to her daughter. So you were in Alina's shoes. What do you think you would do to try to take on Jan in this match?
Well, that's definitely very difficult, very tough match for her. But one good point for her is that there is zero psychological pressure on her because nobody expects that, well, I don't say nobody, of course she has her supporters, but it's very likely that Jan might win this match. But what Alina does, she revealed in the before in the matches, she said that I'm just trying to solve some one-move puzzles to be in shape. So I think I would do the same, just to be sure that I don't blunder anything, and then let's see what to do. What will happen.
Yeah, and she's playing a very standard opening, but she has spent quite a deal of time to get to these 6 moves. And now Jan is taking a little bit of a think here. But the point for white in this position is you put your knight on d5, saying, I kind of hope that black takes it. So my c pawn can go and become a d pawn, and that also gains more space in the position. And, well, now all of a sudden Jan, is he still here? Did he, you know, leave all of a sudden? What's he doing? I'm moving.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a decision for him, either to take the bishop on b4 or not to take it and let it go to f8.
Yeah, and he instead of put his bishop on d3, spying this h7 square, saying, I'm about to remove your knight from f6 and take on h7. And now the question for Alina is, does she play pawn to h6 or pawn to g6 to deal with the threats on the king side? Pawn g6 may expose some of the dark squares. Pawn h6, well, it leaves the diagonal open for the queen and the bishop. Not that it's threatening right now, but it makes it hard to play move like g6 later, and perhaps this knight on f3 will eventually wander to the f5 square.
Exactly. And unfortunately, e4 or bishop f8, they don't work because of knight f6 is with check, and then we would lose the e4 pawn.
Right. Very important point that the intermediate check on f6 would net white a pawn. So g6 chosen, castles. Both sides playing slower than I expected, at least in the early stages. But I think Alina has adopted a very solid setup. She put her bishop back on f8. So she essentially combined the two moves you suggested with g6 and bishop f8, and that bishop can go to g7 at some point. And I guess a question that's important to answer for viewers is, when is black ready to take on d5?
Yeah, maybe never, because now it will be more difficult. I would not like to take on d5 and then have my knight passive on e7 or b8, as I cannot go knight b4. So a3 was a good move covering the b4 square.
Right. Because black was indeed ready at that moment to take on d5, and then it followed up with knight to b4, which is why a3 was played. But for Jan's position as well, he's now making his intentions a bit more clear on the queen side of playing rook to b1, perhaps just saying, I'm going to play b4 at some moment. But it isn't so easy with a bishop on f8 and knight on c6. So you sort of wait for this bishop to go to g7 before you play b4, or wait for move like d6 so the bishop is cut off from the diagonal so you can play b4. So Jan trying to gain some space on the queen side. I don't think black's position is that bad. I mean, I actually feel quite comfortable with black this far. What about you?
Yeah, I agree with you. Actually, d6, I thought that I would keep the diagonal open so that there is no b4 coming. If b4 happens, then I would take on d5 and knight b4 would be there. But after d6, then white can play b4, right?
Right.
Yeah, bishop b4. I thought that it's very normal. When I was a kid, they always told me that if you're playing English, c4, e5, and on a3 you're playing a5, then you shouldn't go f5. Do you think this is the case here as well? Or it's a bit weird, bishop d3, bishop e4 really asks black if he wants to go f5?
Yeah, well, Alina would have to spend another move to play f5 because she'd have to get the queen out the way. And, well, another question I'm having, in addition to, do I want to play f5? And, well, I think she answered your question.
Yeah, she wants to play.
If she wanted to play a4 first to make b4 not so easy to play. Because if she had put her pawn on a4, right, just to go back really quickly, then after b4 you could take en passant, and then you leave white with this isolated a pawn. Not the end of the world because you're opening the b file, but it was another choice. Instead, she went for, well, the more, it seems more classical approach that Sopiko was just telling us about, with pawn to f5 coming at some point. But she's waiting on it. She doesn't want to play it too soon. She wants to develop her pieces before making a move like f5, because while it gets aggressive, it also loosens up some of the squares on the king side.
Yeah, b5 and knight d8 is on the board, and Alina is ready for f5. I guess f5, bishop d5?
Yes, very likely, and which is actually important that the knight is on d8, because if you can play f5 and the bishop goes to d5, at some point I will play c6 to try to trap your bishop in the d5 square. So right now, for example, f5, king will go to h8, so I can just do that variation really quickly. Then c6 comes, and this bishop has run out of real estate.
I have to be honest, I think Alina feels comfortable with her position because she has clear plan in her mind, f5, and the bishop is kind of in trouble. Jan cannot go bishop d3 because of e4, bishop d5, king h8, then c6 might be a problem, but she doesn't go for f5.
Yeah, I feel like she's maybe trying not to commit too soon to this f5 move, just in case it makes her king side get in some trouble. But I don't know where her knight and her bishop are going. That's the big problem, is this bishop on c8, this knight on e6, they're sort of stepping on each other's toes, as the bishop would love to develop, but now the knight's on e6, and you can't move the bishop away from the protection of the b7 pawn. And if you have to make a move like rook to b8, that looks very strange. Then you give white the a file. So, I don't know. I feel like the time situation is tough for Elina right now. Her position is totally fine. And she's kind of doing what I do, Sopiko, which is you get totally reasonable, good positions, but you spend way too much time to get there.
Yeah, I know it's difficult to play against Jan because I think he is the fastest player in the world. Even if he has like 2 hours on the clock, he's really playing the classical games very, very quickly. And he always has a lot of time on the clock.
I think he just made a mistake, though. Maybe it's not such a big deal, but he, I think, wanted to take with the pawn on d4, just to go back for 1 second here. But bishop f5 would have come in to skewer the queen on c2 and the rook on d4. So I think that's why he chose instead to take back with the knight on d4 to stop any bishop f5. But now at least black's pieces are a bit more active. The knight came to f6 to kick the bishop away. But this is going to be the forever problem. This is pawn on b7.
Yeah.
Always needs the defense of this bishop.
Unfortunately for Elina, she really has to cover this diagonal because you don't want to have the bishop on c8 all the game.
Right. Now the knight's in c5. So I guess you can finally start trying to move this bishop out, but still the b7 pawn is a forever target. White can at some point think about bishop a3 to take this knight on c5. I wouldn't do that just yet because that opens up the e file. And so you always have to be careful. Will black take on d4 to try to help out her position? But queen b2, there are no real discoveries with this knight on d4 because black can always take on c3 first. So, be under attack. But now bishop takes h3 is a threat.
Yeah, this is typical Elina. Nearly in her every game, she is very smart to create some attacking chances. And we see now h4, queen g5. It might not be very scary for white, but she's still trying to get some counterplay. Otherwise, it's very difficult for black because the bishop is still on c8 and the b7 pawn is under attack.
Right. And this is the quality of the pieces in white's favor here. But 95 she'll probably go. Okay, I thought she tried 95 to get the c4 pawn, but she goes right back to c5. And she does have actually attacking chances here. Her pieces are very well set up on the king side, and it's not clear how white makes progress just yet over there on the queen side. Maybe rook a8 at some moment, but that's not so threatening. King g7 here, I guess. Oh, she made that move with not very much time left on the clock.
Yeah, 3 seconds. It's not easy to play when you have 3 seconds on the clock. But some tactics still. I still have some hope.
Well, it just, there's no clear breakthrough yet for white. So white's position looks very nice. This bishop on d5 is excellent. Okay, well, that looks like trouble. Yeah. But finally, the bishop is out.
Bishop e6. Yeah. Bishop e6. But what happens after bishop e6, though?
Yeah, rook, if you take with the rook, there would have been some back rank issues. Rook a check. Instead, well, down goes one of the pawns. And this queen on h5 isn't really doing too much for black. The queen on f6 is beautiful for white. So, okay. Game is lost.
Now she will have white pieces. And let's see what she will play. She usually plays d4, but in the Women's Speed Chess Championship, she tried every move. She tried like c4, knight f3, g3. And I was surprised that when games were going good for her, she was anyway changing the openings.
Yeah, that's true. I did notice that even in good positions, she would still deviate because she wanted new games every single time. And while we have a quick moment here, we should let everybody know about our daily question. And well, we always have daily questions at Chess.com shows, and well, this one is more straightforward than most. Who will win the Speed Chess Championship?
What do you think?
Oh, I have to let everybody get involved on Twitter with hashtag Speed Chess, and then maybe later I'll answer the question. But for now, I'll keep my thoughts to myself. Well, who do you think, Sopiko?
Well, I know that my husband is playing, but I'm not going to say his name.
Wow. Wow. I'm going to tell Anish you said that. Unless he's watching right now.
He knows.
You let him know in advance. At least that's
I think he himself would not even say himself.
Yeah, I would have to agree that he probably wouldn't say himself because, well, there's so many tough competitors in the field, and even his first round matchup is difficult, right? If we see the full bracket of matches, you'll see that Anish is playing Jan Krzysztof Duda first match, and that's, well, he's no slouch. He beat Karyakin and Grishuk last year, so
Yeah.
very tough matchup.
Yeah, he has already experience of playing Split Chess Championship 2 years, I think. Very interesting, tough matches, but he was out of first round, I think.
Yep, but I know he takes it seriously. He'll be trying, just like well, Jan and Alina here. They both want to get the show continuing for Jan with the black pieces. I mean, I like what Alina's done here. Very solid setup. But I think the issue is about to be is who has a weaker pawn in the position. I'm seeing rook a to e8, queen to c6, piling up pressure on the e4 pawn. But maybe I'm misevaluating this position.
I think I agree with you. It's very difficult to do something about the e4 pawn. I would love to have pawn on f3.
Right, but where's your knight going to go? There's actually no squares. Unless you want to put your knight on h4, which of course you don't want to do. There's no way to play pawn to f3. And instead, I think Alina might try for, well, she can't even go knight c4 because the pawn e4 now is directly under threat. And that makes her life a lot more difficult.
Yeah, I would play something like, I don't know, h3 to have no problems with the back rank as e4 pawn is not hanging. Rook e3 also makes sense. Maybe I want to go rook d3.
Yeah, that way you can swing the rook to d3 to have pressure on the d6 pawn. She might also play rook d to e1, but there's still this tension, and white is very much stuck here. I don't know. I wonder if black can actually make more progress than what looks like a good position. But h3 is played, makes sense. And what if Alina just sits? What if she now plays knight h2? That might be an idea to go knight g4. Because what white does want in this position is to say, okay, your bishop on g7 isn't doing too much. So if I can trade off a pair of knights, then maybe I can maneuver my knight around and try to outclass your bishop. Of course, a very important square in any sort of Sicilian-looking kind of structure, even though this is not a Sicilian, right? There's a pawn on c5, but it is this d5 square. So if somehow the knights can get traded and the white knight can land on d5, white would be very happy here.
Yeah, I agree with you that Jan needs to create second weakness because one weakness is not enough, as Alina defended it quite well.
Yeah, and a4, not sure I love that move because black feels stronger on the queen side. And so by capturing on a4, then you can swing this rook to b8 and say, I'm going to go pressure your b2 pawn at the right moment. But, of course, the knight can go to c4 at any moment now that the pawn is no longer on b5. So interesting decision by Alina to go for this.
Yeah, I would think that maybe knight h2 still, maybe even knight f1, knight g3 is a possibility, then to go knight c4, as c4 square would be foremost for the knight.
Yeah. Yeah, this is here. I'm wondering if black is going to try for d5, but maybe it doesn't make so much sense. The rook on e2 doesn't have enough defense.
Yeah.
Through the pawn, so d5 is a possibility. And it really comes down to, well, does black want to initiate a series of trades on the e4 square? Is white going to play e5? But the pawn feels very vulnerable in the e5 square. So if d5, e5, knight d7, I think you're just about to lose this pawn e5 right away.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately for Alina, there is not much to do. And even if Jan plays something like a5 and a3 afterwards, b takes a3 and a4, and then continues to push the a3 and c3 pawn with queen a5, rook b8, rook b3, it would be very difficult for white to defend all pawns.
Yeah, the bishop is now showing its strength in the position, as you just said. When you're up some kind of material, here it's just one pawn, but sacrificing that material back should at some point be in the back of your mind. It makes a lot of sense, as Sopiko just said. Playing a3, the point is not just to restore material equality, is to say your b2 pawn is needed to protect c3. So perhaps I can just hand you this pawn to get to your other pawn, which could be a big benefit for Jan's position here. And of course, Jan is playing more quickly, so he's feeling pretty good about his position. Although I shouldn't say that. He plays so quickly in every time control that you never really know how he's feeling. I'm feeling confident for black's position, but f4 is saying, well, let me try to get some kind of aggressive intentions with f5 at the right moment.
C4, that I didn't expect though. I thought that A3 knight A4 somehow made sense, or maybe white could go C4 herself.
Yeah, Alina could have definitely considered playing for c4. And I wonder if Jan's just saying the c5 square is really nice for my queen. Then I'll try Sopiko's plan of a3, where the queen protects the a3 pawn. And here's the start of the plan with queen to c5. And perhaps just saying white doesn't have any real progress here because the knight on e3 looks good. It can't go to d5. I have the square under control by the knight on b6. And here goes f5. And I think you have to do it, but it does make many of the dark squares just unattainable for white, right? You can't even control them anymore. And there's a bishop on g7 that might go to h6, might go to e5. That's going to be a very happy bishop.
Actually, maybe instead of f5, it was more interesting to go e5 first, and after d takes e5, f5. Then the bishop would be pretty bad on g7 and knight e4. Can I have that blockade?
I love that idea. That's an idea that I've seen Levon Aronian play many times. Just it's thematic to give up a pawn to blockade squares against a bishop. I really like that. I think that was perhaps a missed opportunity for Elina, and she's trying to kind of shore up her position by continuing some pressure on the f file. But the knight on e3, the problem is it can't go anywhere because it's knight on b6. Normally, knights on b6 aren't such good pieces, but it is preventing that knight from. Very importantly, preventing it from hopping and jumping at the same time. It was like jopping from jumping into the d5 square.
Yeah, bishop h6, and yeah, it's so difficult to play with white pieces right now.
Yeah, I'm just the f file being open gives me some semblance of hope, but it's not too much because white's pieces are just so tied down. The knight on e3 needs defense from both rooks. If I move my knight on d2, I lose my e4 pawn. I guess my queen can move, but I don't know where to move the queen to. And so she went knight e to f1. All right, keeping the e4 pawn protected, saving the knight, and like something like queen e5 or knight d7 to e5. That might be the best. Just bringing this knight into the game.
Yeah, a lot of options for black.
There goes the knight.
Yeah, is there anything that white can do?
Well, she's trying to control the f file, but here comes the knight to d3, or bishop g5 actually just traps the rook because that. Oh, it has the f8 square. Made a mistake.
Bishop g7 then.
Then it has the f4 square.
Oh yeah. Oh, but knight d3 then. Bishop g7. Rook.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'll show that. So Sopiko was saying bishop g7 only squares f4, knight d3 forks the rooks. Oh. That would have been a problem.
Knight f4, rook f4 anyway.
Wait, what? Oh, if you take on e7, intermezzo time with check.
Okay. King g8 and resigns.
Yeah. So a nice victory there by Jan. I think that Alina's position was very solid, but she didn't have a concrete plan, and that made her life very difficult. And let's just remind everybody the seeding of the SEC so they know how the placements were made. Of course, some players arrived just by invitation, others qualified. And as you see here, 12 invitations, the WSCC, JSCC winners, a Title Tuesday qualifier, an invitational qualifier. And so that's how they were seeded 13 through 16, with the defending champion being number 1. That is, surprise, surprise, Hikaru Nakamura. But, all right, Alina, black pieces.
Again, same opening.
Same opening, but a little bit of change where the knight was captured on c3 early because in that other game, Jan had played for e3 and queen c2. In this game, he went for g3 and bishop g2. And he's also the type of player who plays many different openings and likes to explore different ideas. So I do think that we're going to get many, many, many different openings today.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's not afraid of anything. He's not afraid of damaged pawn structure, or if he sees chances, he just goes for it.
Right. And this kind of structure for white thus far is saying, well, I have the 2 bishops. And in particular, this dark square bishop has some future promise. If I play for f4, try to break open the position. And I like Alina's move a6 because she wanted to go b5, but Jan says, well, you're not getting b5 with my rook on b1, except b5.
If I can go it now, I can go now, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think b5 is a good looking move to play because you're saying, here, have a pawn. As once you take my pawn on b5, I can take your pawn on a2. And now we've clarified the queen side and black gains some clear activity.
Yeah, and she goes for it.
She did. She took 25 seconds. So her last couple moves of each 21 seconds, 25 seconds. And if she can just play these a little more quickly, because you know that she's seeing these moves, she's of course a very, very strong player. I think just the time is going to continue to be a problem for her.
Yeah. But I think she's doing better in every game. Like first game, she used a lot of time really. In the second game, she was more careful. Just the position collapsed pretty easily. But this game, I really like how she's playing.
Yes, so far very stable. Of course, white has options in the center. At some moment with d4 or f4. And I think Jan is going to choose f4. Because once he plays f4, he might even play f5 and just go pawn storming on the king side. And that typically, to me, is the problem with black's position in these type of structures is you often don't have too many pawn breaks. Mm-hmm. Although here, as soon as I say that, she might be playing for pawn to d5.
Yeah, my question actually to you, Robert, was that when I have such position, I always tend to attack as fast as possible. Like Anish is always telling me, first put all your pieces into the game and have all your pieces developed and then go for pawn attack or whatever. Do you think knight c2, knight e3, or developing the bishop is necessary in this position, or we can go right away for f4, f5, g4?
Yeah, I think Anish, I tend to listen to him in terms of best advice and very little else. You might have to listen to a few more things, but I do agree that you would like to get this attack going as quickly as possible because the bishop on c1 in particular has no better square to go to. Like if I go to d2, I'm staring into my pawn c3, not really helping. If I go to e3, this is an empty diagonal. So this is why Jan has chosen to play f5 quickly so that he can soon play g4. And only after he plays g5, and if there's a capture, will he develop this bishop in one move. So I think that the idea is correct, that you want to attack as quickly as possible. But I think that Alina made the right decision as well. Yeah. When you're under attack, you often want to attack back. And how can you do that potentially in the center? Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like too much is happening in the center just yet. And so Alina will need to prove that she has some sort of compensation before she just gets attacked on the king side.
I like the way she's playing. I like it very much. d5, queen d6. Queen d6, I think, is also a very nice move. Just defending everything. Knight c6 at some point might not be under attack. Looking at a3 pawn. And after g4, h4, g5 is kind of a threat for white, for black. But after knight a5, d, knight a5, knight c4 square we get.
Aha, very good point. And if the knight gets to c4, you're controlling more space. But I'm going to ask you, Sopiko, is it empty space? Like, let's say I could put my knight here in one turn. Yeah. What have I accomplished?
I like the knight there, first of all.
I agree.
Well, yeah, it's not easy to answer, but definitely I would prefer my knight on c4 rather than on c6. I am controlling some squares, for example, e3 square, and maybe I can go for c5, b4 at some point. I don't know.
Yeah, if the knight could get there, I'm with you. But she decided to get greedy and took the pawn on c3, which I don't think. Oh, and she now trades the queens.
Oh, that's not a blunder. No, I thought the rook b8 was hanging, but no, that's not a blunder.
Thankfully, there's a knight there protecting that rook, but it does look like a potentially tough endgame. Because even though black is currently up a pawn, the outside pass pawn usually is advantageous. So if we can trade queens on c4, this a pawn at some point would like to make its presence felt.
So you would go for the endgame, because I think that I would go queen e1, queen g3, h4, g5 still.
You're still just trying to attack.
Yeah, if I'm not blundering g4 pawn, of course.
Yeah, g4 pawn, e4 pawn, both need some kind of defense. Like queen f2 is bad for multiple reasons, but both I can take with the knight and attack the queen. So he does trade. And I think he didn't want to trade, to answer your question, but I probably probably felt like he had to at that point, but he is just going after the c4 pawn.
But he gives the g4 pawn, right?
Oh, I forgot it was hanging. Honestly, it's funny, Sopiko. When the queens were on the board, I was like, oh, the g4 pawn will be hanging.
Yeah.
Off the board, like, oh, the g4 pawn, who cares?
Yeah. Bishop a7 is a nice try, though, but I do have knight a6. It's not trapped.
Right. And the question now is Jan going to go knight c6 to just sort of, or knight d5, one of these moves, try to keep the knights on the board, saying your knight a6 is a bad piece, or does he just want to take on c4 and pressure the c7 pawn immediately?
Yeah, it's still nice for white, I think, because it doesn't really matter that white is pawn down at the moment. At the moment, 2 pawns down, right?
Yes.
But the c4 pawn is going, but 2 bishops. It's very difficult to face 2 bishops and the passer.
Yeah, and this bishop on c8 just can't do anything, right? You really want to get it active. Maybe bishop d7 now to head out to square like b5, because the bishop on b7, I don't really want to take your knight on d5 anyway. So I really want to get that piece out.
But I think he's taking too much risk by playing knight d5. What if I go just bishop b7, then I have rook a8 at some point, and if you get both pawns on c-file, I don't really care if I get a3 pawn.
Oh, and the bishop's kind of trapped on a7. At least it has to go to a square I can capture it.
Yeah.
Interesting. So in fact, it's exactly what she did. She's probably going to take this knight on f2. And then assuming the bishop on f2 with the knight. And then now the question is, what's the follow-up? She plays c6. She did.
Yeah, c6. Though knight e7, then king f8, just taking the pawn.
How does this? She has to take it, I think, because if she doesn't, knight takes e5.
Yeah, or f6.
Now knight a5. She's going to play bishop c8, and it feels so passive.
Yeah, it does. It does, but I think it's not the end of the world because I think this is the best position she got so far.
Oof. It looks worse than it is. I agree with you, because this king can actually just come. I can draw the arrow correctly. Come to d6 quite quickly, and look what she did. She put a bishop on d7. Maybe white will try some kind of knight b7 maneuver, and knight b7 I can go rook a7. So I actually don't really know how white is supposed to situate his pieces here.
I think she can do it because I've seen she's done it before. She was under 10 seconds and she defended really amazing. It was amazing, her defensive skills. I think she can do it.
Okay, well, she's trying to channel her Sopiko, just like, I'm going to do it for Sopiko.
Oh my God, did you see the tactic? Bishop a6, rook a6, rook d3, rook d7, and knight c5?
Look at you. I was trying to say how, sorry, let's take on a6.
Sorry.
Check, king moves here, take, knight. Ooh, nice spot. Really nice spot.
Tactics. I love tactics.
Instead, he went for the g7 pawn, but this gives actually black good chances because the e4 pawn is a target, the a3 pawn is a target. So I'll give you g7 and maybe even one of my other kingside pawns if I can get the a3 pawn and the other pawn. So, okay, so take on g7 with check. He's going to hide her king on f8.
Yeah.
And e4 falls to check.
Rook c7 though?
Knight e4 check.
Knight e4, yeah.
Oh, but you can't go bishop d5 because knight b6.
Yeah.
Oh, a3's hanging.
No, with check. Oh, she missed that.
Yeah, now rook takes c6.
Now rook takes c6, yeah.
So,
knight, king e4. That's pity. She played very nice.
Yeah, it was, honestly, I thought it was really bad for her for a while. And then all of a sudden, it seemed like she was getting out of it, but now she lost some time. Okay, it was a losing position because you take on e4 next after you lose the rook, and two pieces are stronger than the rook in the same.
d4.
All right, she's going to go again with this Torre attack. Jan, he kind of is playing, so he's not really risking too much, but he's been playing certain situations that feel like he is giving his opponent some chances, but to his credit, he's been playing very well.
Yeah, he does. That's no surprise.
Absolutely not. And I can speak from experience. I mean, when I played Jan, he was on a secret account. He was making fun of me before we started doing this commentary, Sopiko,
I've heard it.
he was saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, Robert, for the adoption." And adoption in online sphere means winning 10 games in a row. He beat me 10 straight games, so I feel for Alina, and I don't think that it's a problem for her to face Jan, but it just goes to show it's really tough, and there's no shame in it. I feel no shame. Jan crushed me in a day that I was not on form at all, and he was having a burger and a beer, according to him. There you go, Jan. I know you can't hear me right now, but at some point you'll hear. I admit to it. It's fine, and he knows. I feel no shame.
Yeah, he really needed to tell you that he had burger and beer in one hand and playing on iPhone.
He was upset that I wasn't in St. Louis, so he couldn't tell me it directly. But okay.
He doesn't have jet lag though.
Yeah, he didn't add in all the, his forearm hurt and he had a headache and everything was going wrong and he still crushed me.
Yeah, it's tough to play, but I still believe in Alina. I believe that she can score some points.
Yes, for sure, and she will. I think she does need to move more quickly, and I wonder if in the quicker time controls that she moves faster just by necessity, right? Yeah. I feel like for me, when I play longer blitz games, I feel like I have all the time in the world. Next thing I know, I have 12 seconds left. When I play shorter blitz games, I'm like, wait a second, I don't have much time. I gotta be a speed demon, and that's when I play super quickly. But here I like her position just fine. The pawn on d6 is a target, just like the pawn e4. And now she's getting to d5 super quickly. So I actually prefer White's position already.
Yeah. Queen c6, how do you protect the pawn? Knight d2?
Knight d5.
Oh, knight d5. Yeah.
I'll protect through aggressive intentions, right? That way the pawn on e4 feels comfortable. My knight is in the square I wanted to get to all of last game. So knight d5 feels like the right time for it.
Yeah. Knight d5.
Maybe she should play queen d5.
Oh, yeah. Maybe she's thinking about queen d5.
Which would you play?
I think I would play knight d5 because I like to keep queens on the board. Queen d5, then I have to take with the pawn, right?
I guess you do. Because I thought e4 wasn't capturable, but the knight on d7 protects the bishop. But never mind. You're right. Definitely right. Your tactical vision is better than mine right now.
Oh, no.
And rook a to e8, piling up more pressure on e4. So she could go knight d2 or rook e1.
I like knight d2, but I don't like that I give e5 square. Like knight e5 jumps I'm a bit afraid of. So maybe rook e1.
Right. So rook e1, the point. And as soon as I was agreeing with you, rook e1, the point is your knight e5, some kind of takes, and you can take with the bishop. I love my knight on d5 on a light square where you can't kick it out. That would have been really nice for Elina. She chooses knight d2, saying perhaps she'll go back to her f4, f5 attack of the previous game that was in this sort of variation.
Yeah.
And how does black counter it? Because e4 now is well defended. Knight to b6 doesn't actually threaten anything because the knight on d5 is well defended. So instead, c4.
c4.
Okay,
c4 is nice. Knight c5.
Yeah. But can you get away with it? Because my knight on d5 still puts pressure on this bishop on f6.
Yeah, just maybe knight c5, just f3. Just the only problem is that knight got very nice d3 square, right?
It's a extremely advanced knight. So if knight d3, the next threat is queen to c5 check to get this king in trouble, and try to put the knight on f2. Instead, d7 first.
Does he want to play f5? He doesn't want to play f5. Does he?
He might want to play f5. I was thinking the same thing. Is he trying to break open the e file to put his rook on e2 and launch an attack on this king on g1?
Somehow I feel the necessity to bother the queen side pawns by playing b3. Oh, she did it.
Yeah, no, I think it's a very important decision and something that I think a lot of people struggle with is when do I push pawns on the queen side in a position like this, or when do I leave them? Here, just take with the a pawn.
Yeah. Take.
But what could possibly be the problem with taking with the a pawn?
I don't know. I like it for white. A takes b3, and then there is no knight d3 anymore. A pawn is hanging.
Yeah, I was curious why she spent so much time to play a takes b3. It felt like the very safe move, a logical move. And now, as you said, knight d3 no longer a possibility. That's very good news for white. But black's position still quite solid. A6 is going to be hard to attack because as soon as you play
Yeah.
b4, my knight goes to a4. And she plays rook to d1 first.
Only thing I don't like in white's position is the knight on d2. I thought that it would be nice for white to regroup somehow, maybe rook f d1 or rook f e1, then knight f1, knight e3 to support the other knight.
Mhm.
But yeah, f5 is pretty powerful.
So I think the question Alina is asking herself here. Oh, by the way, she has one bar of connection. So that is probably his member offline.
Ooh.
So
Oh.
uh-oh.
That's bad news.
Oh, she's back. She's back.
Okay.
She took first. What about f6 here? So the question is getting this bishop actually important, or am I just going to allow black to do exactly what he wants with queen takes d5, rook d2?
Yeah, f6, and if bishop f8, knight e7 even, right?
Yeah, I was just trying to get rid of some of the black's pieces, but look what she did here.
Oh, that's nice. I like it.
The knight e4, she's saying, look at this knight on d5. That is a beautiful knight.
Knight e4, I'm not loving it. Knight e4, f takes e4. Then if I give check.
Check on c5.
Check on c5. Can I do something on f file? F takes. Yeah, I think connection is problem for Alina.
Yep. It definitely has been. And Jan did take on e4, so let's see if he plays queen c5 check, or if he stores that move for later. Because it's one of those positions where you can play the check now, or you can say, well, oh, and before I could finish my thought, Sopiko, you're really calling all the shots today.
I'm trying.
Oh, you're succeeding.
Thank you.
Uh-oh.
I don't like it. The knight on d5 is a good piece, but unfortunately it doesn't do anything. The pawns on c4 and e4, they are very weak, and I like the bishop on g7 controls all dark squares and makes sure that nothing is going wrong on the king side.
Yeah, this e4 pawn is a target. Maybe queen a2 or queen a4, some kind of move to at least attack. There's queen a4, trying to get this pawn on a5, and also play queen to d7. So queen d7, does it? You know, it seems like it should have some knight e7 check.
Yeah, knight e7.
But it doesn't actually. The king can go to h8. Like,
yeah, king h8.
You know, it feels like such a good move just to throw in there, especially in blitz game. You see a tactic, you play a tactic, but fortunately, it's a bullet game for one of the players and a blitz game for the other.
I think if it was classical game, I think that white still has chances to defend because the knight on d5 is a great piece. It blockades the d6 pawn very nicely, but in blitz, it's very tough, especially when you have 2 seconds.
Right. So queen d7. Okay, showing queen d3, but either way, she needs to like get active and just kind of play. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we've seen this before.
Yeah.
She lost time. I'm wondering if it really is a connection stability issue because with that little time, she needs to just make the moves, but it feels like she keeps getting into disconnected territory or lagging territory, and then she's not able to make the move in time.
Yeah, I guess it's the problem because the moves like c takes b3, a takes b3, or knight e4, f takes e4, you just even have as a pre-move, right?
Right.
So it's definitely, she took some time there and it's definitely a connection problem. But let's see how this will go. We again have rook e8 and castle without queen c2.
Yep, and once again, you will not see white take on b4, even though it seems like, well, don't I want the bishop pair? We often say 2 bishops advantage, but if you take on b4 very early, it allows black, very importantly, to finally push this d pawn out to d5. And as we've seen in other games, this bishop on c8 has been stuck to the pawn on b7. This bishop on f8 hasn't really gotten into any useful squares. And the knight on d5 is really white's very strong piece, because if you take on d5, as we've been talking about, I take with the c pawn, gain more space, open the c file for white's rooks, but not for black's. So that would be an advantageous trade most of the time for white.
Yeah, I like that she played h6 and not g6, because when there is bishop f8 and g6, I feel somehow that black sort of loses tempo because she can go e5, g6, bishop g7 from the beginning.
Right, right. And so it's not it's not necessary to put your bishop all the way out on b4 just to move it back.
Yeah.
And she went a5, okay. And well, you're not really making progress on the queen side for black, because as soon as a4 comes, I can consider, do I want to play b4 or do I want to take it? And he plays a3, so he might be just going for b4 ideas himself. Bishop 3, pawn b4, similar to how he won an earlier game in this match.
I find it very difficult to play this exact pawn structure for black, because somehow you also don't want to push very hard with f5, e4, f4, as you're not ready, and the bishop on b2, you don't want to open it.
Right.
But then it's not easy because white has clear plan. He wants to go b4 and he wants to advance the pawns on the queen side.
Yeah, and it's also annoying, as you point out, that if this bishop on b2 gets an open diagonal, which means f4 at some point, e4, like white can play on both sides of the board, at least in our head, very easily. We see different ideas. For black, I'm like, well, what is black going to do here? Because your idea of f5 is not too easy to play. As we saw earlier, you have to go knight d7, f5, and that gives white some important time. So she takes on d5 with the bishop, giving up the bishop pair, and now e4 comes, next is f4. I do not like black's position.
Yeah, maybe c6 to somehow get to d4 square, or d takes c6, b takes c6, but I agree with you. I don't like the bishop on f8, I don't like the rook on e8. If you want to play f5, then you need to have rook on f8.
Right. Bishop on f8 is doing a whole lot of nothing, and c6 is a good idea. It's the idea to challenge white's center. And now the question is at what point is Nepo going to play for d4? Just try to challenge the e5 square, open up the bishop on do it. He takes in c6 first, which I think is a sensible decision. And now it's a tough choice for black. If you take with the pawn, well...
Then d4 maybe. b takes c4, d4 would be stronger.
Yep. And now instead, he's probably playing for f4. So d5, right, for black? Oh, it hangs in exchange, doesn't it? The d5 takes, knight takes, to b5, knight b6. Easy to overlook that because you think white will never give up this fianchetto bishop, but if it wins material, it's probably a good decision.
Yeah, knight d4 is on the board. Still f4 is possible.
F4 looks pretty good. Is black going to meet that with b5 idea? Is that what she's looking for, trying to push pawns on the... There it is.
Yeah.
And then what? Knight e3 seems right, just to cover all the central squares. It's bishop on f8, Sopiko. We talked about this several times now. It's just not a good piece.
Yeah. I'm a bit surprised that she keeps the same opening. We've seen it already fourth time? Or third time?
Third time.
Yeah, third time.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. The bishop on f8 just feels so wrong. But knight to come into c5, all right, that at least is a logical plan, attacking the b3 square. This is one of those positions where if you're white, sometimes you wish you could push your pawn from a3 back to a2, just to keep your queen side safer. Especially if you're going to build up a king side attack, you want to make sure the other side of the board is safe and sound.
I'm a bit surprised with Jan's choice because I thought that knight, don't you think knight on d5 is a better piece than knight on f5? It can be kicked out with g6, and then at some point maybe black can play d5 and open up the f8 bishop.
Yep, g6 right now looks great. And I agree with you. I think he didn't want to play knight d5 because he didn't want to trade the knights, but knight d5 was clearly the right move, because what's this knight doing on h4? That's not the right square. And look at Alina go. Rook a4, coming after the e4 pawn, also eliminating any e5 ideas with the rook on a8 hanging. So he's picking up steam in her position.
Yeah.
Knight on h4 is awkward. I'm starting to like it more. I don't necessarily love black's position, but I am starting to appreciate it a little bit more.
Yeah, queen b3 and maybe queen e6, queen b2.
Then I can go rook a2, right, if you just start
Yeah, rook
Backtrack.
a2.
And then, oh, wow. So like queen e6, queen b2, rook a2. If you take on d4, I was hoping that I would just get my bishop to g7, and I was happy to go pawn for the diagonal, but the queen always slides back to e3. So not good.
Yeah.
Knight e5 first. And direct attack by Jan.
D takes e5, rook c6. That's the problem. Or, but then I have rook b4. No, rook b4.
Then queen takes.
Goes, rook e6.
This is gonna get like crazy tactics.
Oh, this doesn't look good. Oh my God, queen g7. What if I play f5? Then I want f takes g6. f7 is hanging.
f5, do I have to go with like g5? I don't want to do it, but oh my gosh, this trap. G5, like f6, queen h7, bishop e4.
Queen h8, that looks horrible. Knight g6, yeah.
Ooh,
that's
unpleasant.
Yeah.
Rook takes f7 here.
Yeah.
And then bishop d5.
Nice tactics.
Monster diagonal for white. Now knight takes g6 first. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can take on f7 and then take on g6, but it's deadly pin. Yeah, I think she can't play this setup anymore. It just doesn't feel right, especially because she's playing a bit slow.
Yeah.
Taking that setup is slow from chess standpoint, and then she's not getting squares for her pieces. So she needs to take even more time to come up with a plan.
Yeah, and I understand her. It's very difficult to prepare against Jan because he plays everything. You might even think that there's no point just to look at his games because you just play whatever you know and whatever you like and see how it goes.
Is that what Anish does when he plays Jan? He just says, yeah, let's flip a coin. I have no idea what he's going to do. So,
yeah, well, I think good thing for him is that he also plays everything. So he can choose. But for me, it would be a big problem.
Yeah, it is very difficult to prepare for people who just don't play the same thing twice in a row or maybe twice ever. So in any single game, you have to be concerned, are they going to play E4, D4, C4, B3? You know, it's just too many branches to look at.
Yeah. And we still have the same structure.
We do.
We have thematic match today. We
do. And it surprises me because I really expected them to kind of change their openings, but I think for Jan, it's working out very well. So why would he switch? He doesn't need to switch just yet.
Yeah, not yet. But do you think if he loses one game, he will?
Yeah. I think if he loses a game, he'll say, you know what? It didn't work out for me. Let me try something else. And even if it was a fine position, players are often superstitious, right? They just want to get away from something that caused them to lose and play something new.
Yep. B5. I'm not a big fan of this one as well for white because I don't like this knight on f3. It's great when the knight is on d5 and maybe knight e3 or knight c3, but knight f3, knight d2, it's clear that white needs some coordination. Yep.
It just feels like the knights are stepping on each other's toes, and the knight on f3 becomes a problem, and then the knight on the knight is now on c4. Already it can't go to e3 because the e4 pawn is...
Ooh, what's that?
Oh, it's a tactic.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
But I also was like, wait, what's happening?
e5, queen c6, take.
Okay, well.
But that's something I like. I mean, I like it still for black because I think that the bishop is better than the knight at this moment, and the b5 and c5 will cause some problems to white. But at least it's clear that the position is simplified and you're going to defend the endgame.
Yeah, it seems very level at first glance. And okay, allowing white to take on b5, I'm not sure I'm really into that idea because you're splitting your own pawns. What Jan is trying to say is if I can go get your b2 pawn, then at least my bishop on f6 will be very strong, challenging your setup. Exactly what he's going for. You want to take on b5. queen if you take, and then hit b2, hit c3 after that.
Yeah. Very unpleasant endgame.
Yeah. And, well, what can white do instead? Because if you take on b5, like I said, b2 pawn problem. If you don't take on b5, I guess h3 to start with seems like a normal move. But actually, after h3, there might be b takes a4 again.
Yeah. Again, the same thing.
Always.
And you don't want to go a5.
No, definitely not a move you want to play. She's gonna put a rook on e2. That makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Yeah, that's nice.
But what? Okay, so if you look at this position, Sopiko, I look at it, I think white is better. But I do think the bishop on f6 is a good piece. So how do you make progress? I mean, h4 intentions are clear, getting left for the king and trying to get aggressive. But how do you make progress for either side?
Yeah, tough. Though I have to say that I like open files and open diagonals. When I see that something is open and I have some sort of attack, like pressing on B file, and I have maybe A4, A3 at some point, and the C3 pawn might be weak. I can make use of B3 square. I like black. So I think that for black, it's easier to create some kind of play on the queen side rather than for white, because white doesn't have any attacking chances on the king side. And I think that black is stronger on the queen side.
Yeah, that's very, very logical. What you said makes a lot of sense. And yeah, the problem is you want to go knight g5 to start an attack, but this bishop can always consider taking it. I wouldn't take it just yet, as at any moment if you take on the g5 square, once my knight gets there, you make the dark squares much weaker around the black king. But with this rook on e6 now, I don't think the king's in any bit of danger.
Yeah, though Alina is doing much better than the other games with time management. She has like 1 minute and 50 seconds now, and the position is pretty simple. I think the ideas are also clear. Queen d5, knight g5, and Alina will try to protect everything and don't let Jan to create some sort of attack.
Right. And that's the thing, is knight f3 might be needed to protect the e1 square, which watch when king g2 first. If she didn't want to allow any like rook e1, queen f1 kind of maneuvers and her king getting mated. So instead, she put her king up first, which was a good decision. And now we may see an endgame without the queens on the board. But I don't really want to trade queens as white, but I don't have a choice, as in on the diagonal would have been very annoying.
Do you think she can defend it?
Oh, yeah.
Will she be in time to defend it?
To play knight e4 here.
Yeah.
And
oh, then it's good.
Just play rook. I want to say rook b or to d2. She went c4. She went to put her pawn in a light square, so she doesn't have to worry about it. His knight would love to immediately hop to d5. And this bishop similarly would love to be on d4. The game of
King f3 now.
Which piece is going to get to the central square first?
Yeah. Knight d2, knight f1, knight e3 is also possible, right?
Yep. You might play, oh, she can't go knight b3 here. That would be a huge blunder because the king's on f3.
Yeah.
You want to play this move to hit the c5 pawn, but then rook a3 comes and down goes your knight.
Yeah. But that's a moment I think she should not waste too much time, because that's the moment when you know that you have control of the game and you can make it. Just the time might be the problem.
Yep. And time certainly has been a problem for her. It's been Jan's friend, but not Alina's. And right now she's just going to try to go knight b1, knight back to d2, and try to kick this rook off the third rank. And if the rook leaves the third rank right now, say rook a1, I'll go knight to c3, saying, unless you want to see my knight on d5, you're going to take it. Once you take it, it feels like we are heading towards it.
Yeah. Though it seems like very equal, but I think that there's still some tricks for both sides.
Right. And I mean, the king on f3, e2, shuffling, wants to keep the f2 pawn protected because bishop wants to come d4 at some moment. And I think what she's doing is perfectly reasonable. And so f4 played, saying, please take me on f4 so I can go get your h4 pawn. But now the knight can go to e4.
Yeah, now it's good because knight e4, just take. Bishop d4.
Bishop d4, yep.
Bishop d4, maybe I can activate my rook a2.
Yeah, rook a2, bring it to a7, and try to get your knight to g5. The g5 square is an extremely important one for this knight. So rook a2 now.
Yeah, and she's done it.
I feel like only white can be better here.
I agree with you. I like white's position. I just don't like that she has 37 seconds on the clock, and it's very difficult to play when you're having such losing streak, and you know that now you can stop the bleeding.
Yeah, you just want to get any result on the board.
Yeah,
is a good result. So, well, she goes to king f3, and after rook f8 check, bring your king right back. Brings rook to c7. Well, Jan's inviting this king up the board.
Yeah, that's surprising.
He needs to be careful because king f4 and will threaten king g5 and king takes g6, of course. And after,
Ooh,
what? Wait, why didn't the king go up?
Was there something wrong with king f?
What was wrong with king f4?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that at some point after knight c5 you can take rook g3.
Ah, so she's going after the c5 pawn. Okay, so she's just making.
Oh, knight c5. And that's nice. She gives checks as well.
Yep, she doesn't want to allow any kind of rook g3, bishop e5 sort of thing.
Yeah. Knight g5, she can give a check, or knight c5.
She needs to do it quickly because bishop e5 is what Jan's intention is, but now king f2.
Yeah, king f2 looks good. Rook g3. I'm still a bit afraid because of time. I understand that it's really easy for white to make a draw here, but after the g3 pawn falls, then it's not so easy.
Yep. But he's going to take on g3 and then has to worry about knight to d7. So
yeah.
Rook g3, knight d7, where's his bishop going? If you go to f4, I check and win your bishop on f4. If you go to d6, I go c5, and your bishop's still in trouble. So something like that is not going to be overly pleasant for black. So you think he's just going to agree to the draw? He's going to say it's all good?
Maybe he's calculating like rook g3, knight d7, bishop d6, rook c6, no, c5, right? I can go c5.
Yeah. Then rook c3. And
then rook c3, yeah.
I don't know if you're playing for a win or for a loss, but it is something to try. So rook a3 played. He wants to take on g3 with bishop, but now he's just down a pawn.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
But I don't like that. Oh, I'm scared. I'm scared. I don't know. I'm really scared.
Oh no, rook e3 check.
I really want Alina to.
Wait, but she has a king d2, king d3.
King d3.
Yeah, so
nice.
She found a way out here. It looked very scary, but now she found a way out because once the king goes to d3, it hits the rook on e4 and the bishop on
4 seconds.
Yeah, that was actually really quick tactical vision because I was like, oh no, you can't play king e2, you blow into your knight. But she realized, well, not so fast.
She's super, super resourceful.
c6? What? No.
Oh.
Oh.
No, that was a blunder.
Oh. She had that one.
Yeah. It's really PT. 1 second. Yeah, it's not meant to be.
Sad. Sad news.
Yeah, very sad.
Now she's losing her remaining pawns, and she's no time. I mean, Jan he's just faster. That's really the key right now. Is he's playing much, much, much faster chess.
Yeah, yeah, he's faster, and I think the game is boarded, but we are trying to get back the cameras.
Okay. And got it. They stopped the clock. They paused the game clock because they want to get Alina back.
Yeah.
And well, they all want Alina back. She was such a great competitor in the WSCC, but not just that. She was so kind to all of her opponents. Like, it was such an honor for her to be there in the first place. You could tell how meaningful it was.
yeah, she's super nice. She's very nice. And the first match when she beat Katerina Lachna, it was really nice to see because they are getting well with each other. They are friends. They wished good luck to each other. It was very nice. But Elina, she's a fighter. I believe that we will have a very interesting match, and it won't be only one-sided.
Yeah, and she beat Valentina Gunina in the final of the WSCC, which you, of course, covered. And Valentina Gunina won that London Rapid Play tournament a bunch of years ago with 8 out of 9 or 9 out of 10.
Yeah, 9 out of 10.
Ahead of like 50 or 60 grandmasters. So that was a very tough opponent for her to beat. And well, Alina's classical rating and her ratings in general have gone down in recent years. And as you can attest to, Sopiko, not always easy to multitask being a chess player and also being a parent.
Yeah, I agree with you. She also has, she has 1 month elder daughter than me. Daniel will turn 3 in October, and her daughter is already 3. So it's very difficult. You are not able to play as many tournaments as you wish. You're not able to prepare as you wish. But I think she's doing great. She is in the team. She has been defending the first board of Armenia for several years. I think she played like 15 Olympiads or so.
Wow.
And, yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, and Jan Nepomniachtchi also is quite the competitor. And you said, you know, when you are a parent, you don't have as much time to compete. Well, Jan has been playing everywhere. He played in Dortmund. He played he's in the Grand Chess Tour, so he just played in the Sinkfield Cup. And so Jan, he is definitely someone to keep your attention on in the world of chess because he's up to something like number 5 in the live ratings. I always lose track because they're so close there.
Yeah.
And what Jan also is he qualified for the final 8, the quarterfinals of the Fischer Random World Championship. So he won his knockout bracket, and so Jan will be competing in the quarterfinals of that event.
Yeah, Jan is a great player, and he's very, very strong. He's a really strong opponent for anybody.
Yes, that's definitely true. And so Jan, he is trying to make his mark in the speed chess championship field because as of yet, he hasn't really been able to get too far in the SEC. And I think that he really wants to win because he plays online a lot. He is a streamer as well. He streams on Twitch. And of course, all the classical and over-the-board events he has going on, he's in game shape and he's used to playing very quickly.
Yeah, he's a professional streamer. We can see that he's sitting in his studio, I think. He has a gamer chair and he has lights. So we get very nice camera of Jan.
Yeah, his chair looks very nice. I saw that earlier and I wanted to point that out as well. But I just saw a question from Extreme Dota. Who is stronger, Naka or Nepo? And, well, I got to go with Hikaru. If we're talking about, online speed chess, Hikaru, I think, is the stronger player. And Hikaru is the favorite. Speaking of our daily question, and I answered earlier than I normally do. I normally leave the daily question for the end of the show because I don't want people to know my answer. But who will win the speed chess championship? Hikaru Nakamura is certainly the favorite.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's the favorite one. But I think we might be surprised this year.
Okay. Well, my favorite is Anish Giri. So I just said that. I can tell Anish that I called Anish my favorite. You're here talking about other people being your favorite. So Anish, you're probably watching somewhere. I got your back.
So you go for Anish and then I'll go for Hikaru. Let's see who wins. I'm in win-win situation.
You're in a win-win, and I feel like I'm in a win-win here. So we both can't lose. The best place to be.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, we have a different structure this time out of the opening, where instead of having passive dark square bishop, this bishop is on a great diagonal on g7. Both sides are fighting for the control. And this structure with the double C pawns, but this light square bishop on C8. The C pawn's not so bad, but it's really hard to get this bishop out because you want to play D6, but your pawn on C6 is hanging.
Yeah, but I think that this structure fits more to Alina's style because she likes she also likes clear plans and open files, and I think like every woman, when she sees attack to the king's side and hunting for the king, she always goes for it. So I think that in this structure she might do better rather than in the previous games.
Yeah, I think you're right. I still just don't know what to do with this bishop on c8. That's really what's bothering me. Somehow she's not been able to have a good time with her bishops, which I think is why with white she keeps trading off her bishops and getting these two knights. But I don't know. I feel like just something needs to go right out of the opening for her because she's spending so much time. Every single game she's down a minute on the clock, and if she feels comfortable in her opening, she'll probably move instantly.
Yeah. I agree with you. D6 finally is on the board, but the bishop once again. If now the F8 bishop is not a problem, now B7 bishop is the problem because it's not a nice piece.
No, it's not. And also, this pawn on A5 might want to go back to A7. Now, if Danny was here, you would talk about the Chess.com bugs and how the pawn can't go back. But the reason why we say that, right, is this pawn A5 feels vulnerable here. The rook on 8 has to stay protecting it. Whereas, a move like queen to D2 or queen to C3, very natural moves, will immediately put pressure on that pawn.
What would you think about C5 right here for white?
I was one. Well,
he played.
We know what Jan thinks about it. He's like, I'm going for it. And C5 looks very good because the pawn on D6, now it goes D5, E4 played. And the point is that this knight on D7 is hanging, so you can't take on E4. The downside of playing this aggressively is you may leave some weak squares behind in white's position, but I don't really see a way for black to take advantage of it. Rook E7 here would be my first instinct, and after E takes D5, I guess I take on E1 first, you take back, I take on D5, and I say, okay, well, my pawn D5 is not lost just yet, but still feels very vulnerable for black.
Yeah, I agree with you. And C5 is, we often see it in Catalan opening when the bishop is on B7, you just want to lock it, or in triangle swap sometimes when the pawn is on C6, C5 is the first move that comes to mind, just to lock the bishop on B7. Though after rook A8, I think the bishop can come back bishop C8 and have open diagonal, so it's not as big disaster as in Catalan.
I agree. And the bishop can choose its own diagonal because, as you said, bishop can go to c8. It also can go to a6 if you feel like that's going to be useful. And this decision by Jan, like e5, is saying, I'm going to keep the center closed. I have a 4-on-3 if we split the board in half on the king side, and your pawns on c7 and c6 are immobile because my pawn c5 cements them in their place. So I think that this was a reasonable choice by Jan to push to e5. And if you're Alina, you just think, is Jan going to play for pawn f5? Or if I go queen e7, is he going to try f5 at some point? Or is that not really something to be concerned about?
Yeah, also the other question probably for black is if I want to bother white in the center with f6 or f5. I wouldn't dare to play f5 because I'm kind of afraid of g4 at some point. But maybe I would like to have f6, ef, queen f6.
Right. So if I just put the position on the board, if you can get this trade, get white taking on f6, then all of a sudden black has more room for her pieces and maybe can try to counter. But in the game, you put a queen on e6 and Jan says queen c3, both kind of threatening this diagonal where the king is on, but also hitting the pawn a5 immediately. I said this pawn will be a problem, and now you see clearly why it's not going to be easy to defend.
Yep. Rook a8 is kind of forced not to lose the pawn on a5. And now knight comes back into the game because it was not doing much on a4.
The knight wants to be on d4. I could just put this knight on d4 right away, the game's over. And strategically would be crushing. He puts his rook on d4.
Maybe knight d1, knight e3, knight c2, and then knight d4.
That would be a funny journey.
Yeah.
Also, taking the rook off a light square, so now the queen can take on a5. Maybe that was part of the point too.
Yeah.
Like,
Can
so
I take? Yeah.
Sorry, so it seems like you're correct. Knight d1, knight e3.
Knight c2, and then knight to d4.
Bishop takes d5.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know if it's good, but I think it's good.
that's nice. That's very nice. I love it. He didn't play.
Oh, boo.
We're disappointed.
Are we allowed to boo the players? Am I allowed to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Has burger and beer now in one hand.
Well, no, that's just when he was beating me,
Yeah.
Paying attention now. But knight f6 check, just take on e8. You can take on a5 as well. You can choose your pawn or piece to capture, but I would take on e8, of course. It's no rook c1, I think.
Can I take on a5? Or queen c5 you don't like?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe if queen c5 happens, but Jan probably has this all worked out. Queen trade liquidates an endgame, c6, behind c6 is c7, all a problem.
Yeah, looks lost.
Yeah.
Rook c7, e6, bishop h3, anything, rook d1.
Yeah, up an exchange and a pawn. So just make sure you don't blunder anything, and the rest. Rook d1 played, and I think time, once again, not Alina's friend.
Yep. She has to play faster and maybe different openings. But yeah, she goes for the same.
So we once again have, well, we were Trumpowski. Before we had a Torre, and instead of being able to take on f6, Black had played g6, bishop g7 too early. So at least here, she's changed the pawn structure, giving Black double pawns and playing very natural moves from the white side. You can play, okay, well, c5 is saying you're not going to get out of this so easily. But I was going to say, you normally put your knight on f3, c3, and just develop.
Yeah, and it's first time that Alina has more time on clock than Jan. That's already an achievement.
Yeah, and it's really what she needs to do. And I know from experience, because I've struggled with this for so many years, is that you want to be like a perfectionist in the early stages of a blitz game, but the key is really just going, because it's more important, and Hikaru Nakamura says this quite regularly, it's better to play a good fast move than to play the best move slowly. So you just want to continuously just play quick, so that you can conserve time for the very tough parts of the game, the complex parts.
Yeah, and I know that it's very difficult to lose game after game, but when she was asked about the coming Speed Chess Championship, she said that I'm just going to enjoy it, let them think about it, they have to beat me.
Yep.
So I think she takes it really easily, and she tries her best.
Yeah, and also for her, it's good experience, because we've talked that she doesn't get to play as much anymore. She will be competing in Isle of Man because she won the WSCC. She qualified for that event, and that event will have top 100 or so players in the world. Some players are not competing, but this is a very good experience. Even if she doesn't win the games, just competing against the very best in the world is just good for your chess. I know from me, I would rather play Magnus and lose to him 100 times in a row than maybe play some other players. Even if I win the other games, I think it's just a very good experience. And any competitor wants to play the absolute best in their field.
I agree with you. And do we have again bishop problem? But that's now, no, 2 bishops. Yeah, 2 bishops for Jan.
Yeah, 2 bishops for Jan, and well, a better pawn structure for white on the queen side. You want to make use of the 3-on-2 there. You have an extra pawn, but this knight on c7 in particular doesn't really have a home just yet. So keeping this knight on c7 is good for Elina, and she puts her knight on d4. Perfectly good move. And the point for Black is you can't play e5, as then you weaken squares like d5 and f5 for white's pieces.
Yeah, e5 would be very bad, though you can play probably f5 to open the g7 bishop.
That looks like a very good plan. And I think that's what Jan will do at some point. So for Elina, bishop f3 makes sense. And I'm wondering if you should play move like g4 to stop f5. Just to gain space on the king side and say f5 is not going to be played so easily.
That's nice. Or you can maybe also advance the pawns, c5, b5.
Yep. Seems like she's going for that. And knight to b5 as well, right? My knight can hop in and then try to get to the d6 square.
I like it. I like it for Alina.
This is by far her best position of the day. By far.
Yeah. f5, knight b5. I like your knight b5, then knight d6. White really has initiative.
Yeah, and you can also consider playing c6 at the right moment, depending on what Jan does. And okay, he plays f5, so it's about time. And so which knight goes to b5? That's the question.
Yeah, or maybe, no, I cannot go rook e1, e4. I wanted to go like maybe knight f5 at some point, but my knight is hanging on d4, so I have to be careful.
Right, you're just trying to break open the center and say your king is on e7, but that wasn't working out just yet. So bishop e5, it's a nice square for the bishop, covering the knight on c7, keeping an eye on these two knights on the e4 and c3 squares, and also allowing for h5, h4, so you can hit the g3 pawn. So it's a very flexible move by Jan, a very good move, while covering the d6 square as well. I think this bishop on e5 is an amazing piece.
Yeah, and maybe now knight b5 doesn't make a lot of sense because the d6 square is covered. I like rook d2, rook d1, getting all pieces into the center, and then we'll see what happens. Maybe some tactics.
So in black, black cannot play rook d7 because of c6. I think that's your idea.
Yeah.
Hitting rook on d7 and saying, I'm going to take on c6 with my knight. And that will be a big problem because what white wants to do is push the pawns on the queen side because she has an extra pawn over there. You want to start getting a clear pass pawn, space for your pieces, and start trying to attack black's more vulnerable pawn, which is the a7 pawn.
And this is easy to play with white pieces because all your pieces are on good squares, and you can do anything on queen side, a4, b5, a5. I like to push my pawns. I don't know, but I like to push my pawns always when I have chance.
So the a4, b5, I mean, looks totally reasonable to me. You can start with b5 even. I don't think you necessarily need a4 yet. And how is black going to fend off this b5 move?
I think it's difficult. He has to create some kind of counterplay on the king side, as you said, with h5, h4. Otherwise, his pieces are very passive. Bishop c8, knight c7, not doing anything.
The rook g8 play, that doesn't really help too much because now h5, I guess I can't take on h5 because then you go rook back to h8. So maybe Jan is really trying to play h5, but knight e2, knight c3 to e2 makes sense to me as a way to go to f4. I think a knight f4 would be a very good square. What else can we think about here? Your move e4, not totally out of the question, but I think if you're e4, f4, and black's kind of closing it down.
Knight b5 also is interesting, I think, taking on d2, and probably he has to take on b5, or maybe he shouldn't because she went with the knight on d4, knight db4, and then knight c7, bishop c3 might be annoying.
Yep, that knight. Well, actually, then I can go to a8. So you go rook, rook d3, bishop b5, knight a8 to be. That actually looks kind of good for white.
Mm-hmm.
So she went knight d4 back. I think knight c7, but I guess bishop takes c7 would have been fine. But just to show that one more time, rook d3, bishop d5, knight a8, knight b6, removing the guard of this b7 pawn would have been very nice for Elina. She was able to get away with it.
Right.
So knight d4, h5. Here comes that h pawn. That's not going to be fun.
But I think this is a nice example when two bishops are not the strongest two bishops. It's really not nice to have two bishops. Look at the c8 bishop. All pawns are on light squares, b7, a6, f5, e6, f5, and h5.
Yep, that bishop has nowhere to go. So knight c3 to e2 makes sense. The bishop still can't move out from the c8 square. This knight can go into f4, as mentioned earlier, just to keep the king side defended for white. But what other plans do you see here? Because you can't take on h5, h8. So what would you do if you were?
I like knight de2. The d file is open and everything is defended. Knight on c3 as well. I like what she's doing with a4, b5. I wanted to play it all the time. But I think I do realize that black had much worse position before. Yeah.
So do you think it favors white or black to trade the rook? So I'm thinking of king e7 and trading the rooks on rook d8. Does it help white or black?
I think it's hard to say because the rook on g8 is also doing a thing. It keeps the knight on e2 pinned, sort of pinned to defend the g3 pawn. And my rook is not doing much on d file. It's just nice to have rook on d file. But after a b, rook a2 might be a problem. So I think it still might benefit black.
Okay, I agree with that. I think, with these pawns pushing forward on the queen side and now being traded into a pass pawn, having the rook could be very useful for white into a rook a2, rook a7, trying to get the rook active. Here in particular, getting to the d7 square would be nice, but Jan plays rook to d8, and I think rook b2 is met by rook d6. c6 pawn isn't favorite. Well, not rook d6, just wins the pawn.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like what happens. I did not understand why bishop c6, why not b takes c6 instead of bishop trade, because this bishop was not a good bishop whole game, and suddenly for Jan it was very easy to trade it.
Yeah, and that taking with the b pawn on c6 would have kept the bishop on the 8th rank. It would have said, okay, now your rook is not going to be able to slide over, and then white, on the other hand, could play rook a2 or rook b2, get the rook active. So I think it was a missed opportunity there. And now if we get to the game position, white is just down a pawn. Excuse me, and has 1.4, 0.7 seconds left. So no time.
No time.
Down a pawn.
Bad position. But this was, I think, best game by Alina in this match. She really had chances, and till some point she really played well. But yeah, we all know Jan is Jan, and it's difficult. Jan won't give away a game just like this.
Right. He is a fighter, and yeah, he came ready to play today. He wasn't as sharp. Some of these advantages might not have turned into full points, but I just really think that Alina needs to play quickly. Just keep moving.
Yeah.
And it's hard to move fast, especially when you're playing someone of Jan Nepomniachtchi's caliber. But it's also hard to play fast when you're losing games, because then you're like, you don't trust yourself. Your instincts are off. But she needs to trust herself. She's a very good player. She's a strong grandmaster. She just needs to go.
Yeah, and nobody expected in every match in Women's Speed Chess Championship, she was underdog.
Yeah.
So it's not new for her to be underdog, and it is very tough, but she can do it. She can score some points.
Yeah, that's the great thing about chess is, even though, of course, Jan is much higher rated, he's one of the top few players in the world, in chess, in any single game, you could score some points, right? Of course, Alina came into this match knowing that she very, 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 very likely was not going to win the match. And I don't think she came in with any expectations, as you said. She just wanted to play good chess and fight. But, it does start to feel unfortunate when the games, even in decent positions, don't go your way. That last game, she had an advantage, and it didn't go her way. So she just needs to get on the scoreboard, and I think she'll score a couple more points after that.
I agree. Bishop d6. What do you think? Do you like to play against isolated pawn, or you like to have it?
So I would say I very rarely have an isolated pawn myself, but I played the white side of an Alpine Sicilian growing up, so I would have an isolated pawn quite frequently. And the good news of having an isolated pawn is if you look at the adjacent files, open space for your rooks. And the rook on c1 is challenging the rook on c8, but where's this rook on f1 going? It's going to go to d1 because then you go after the isolated pawn. And knight f4 says, take me, give me the two bishops. And very importantly, this bishop on b2 will be very strong if you take on f4. But I think that I prefer always playing against the isolated pawn, despite the fact that I said I only, against Sicilian growing up, I got the isolated pawn. But Sopiko, what about you? Prefer having it or playing against it?
Yeah, I think I prefer to have it because there are a lot of attacking plans connected with knight e4 when the rook is on f8, f5, queen f6, queen h6, then some sort of attack and sacrifices on e3 and f2. But this is not the position which I would like to have an isolated pawn, because the bishop on b2 is already very strong, and it's, I think, very difficult for black to do something. It's clear that in this position, isolated pawn is a weakness.
Yeah, something that just needs permanent attending to. This bishop on b8 looked good a second ago, but knight f4 blocks it. If you take on f4, e takes f4. Sopiko and I have been talking about how strong this bishop is, but it will be even stronger if you do not have a dark square bishop to challenge me with. And did take. I thought maybe she'd consider flipping that bishop over to a7, but she took on f4, played f6. Okay, the bishop on b2, not so strong with a pawn there.
Yeah, f6. It's nice to control the e5 square, but I don't like that e6 square might become vulnerable.
Yeah, that's true. But I guess you can slide her bishop back to f7 right now and hope that she can coordinate in a way that doesn't allow white to infiltrate. But let's say you play knight d4 here, trying to trade off one pair of knights and then put your bishop on d4. So Jan doesn't. He just moves bishop to f1. Why bishop f1? How does that benefit?
Yeah, it's a bit surprising, but maybe he wants to go knight d4, knight d4, queen d4.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. Wanted to go knight takes and queen takes. And here, if you go knight d4, knight takes d4, I guess you take on c8 first. But I was going to say that if you take on d4 with the bishop, there's sometimes rook takes c1 ideas. And even here, white is still been perfectly fine because we just get a big queen trade. But liquidation can help decide with the isolated pawn, because then you feel like, okay, I can even give up the isolated pawn, get into an endgame, and get play around it.
Yeah. And actually, we have just 3 minutes, 45 seconds left for this segment. So we might be in time to get one more game. What do you think?
I don't think so. I think this game
is the last.
Yeah, I think this one will last a while. So this will be the last one in the 5-minute portion.
Yeah. Knight d4, would you take knight d4?
Do I have a choice? I guess I can leave the tension. But the question I'm going to ask you in return, so I'm going to answer your question with a question. White were to take on c6, how would you plan to take back? Of course, white can't move the knight yet because f2 is hanging. But in general, how would you want to take back on the c square if the knight took you? With a pawn or with a rook?
I think once the pawn was on b4, I wouldn't want to have hanging pawns, because I would like, if the pawn was on b3, to take with the pawn and have c5. Just to emphasize that the b3 pawn is weakness as the pawn is on a3. I would keep the c file open. So I think I would take rook c6 after b4.
Makes sense. And, as I was pointing out that, my question is moot because this knight can't move from d4 without giving up the f2 pawn. And now Alina takes on d4. So you can take with the queen on d4 and simply trade queens. Then the question is, this pawn on a5, because it's pushed up the board, is that going to become a big problem for black? As it feels like it's a square where it's gone too far.
Yeah, I think, is it possible to take with bishop
Yep.
I think it is. Bishop d4, rook c1 is not a big danger. Queen d4 takes. Would you take on c1 as well? Rook takes c1, rook c1, giving the c file. Somehow I don't want to give away the c file.
I don't either. So knight d6 is a move that comes to mind. So is knight d2, actually. Knight d2 might be the move I'd play because at least I'm trying to threaten opposite color bishops. So if I play knight d2, how are you going to meet that, Sophie?
I like knight d2. Knight b3 is also an option after that. Knight d2. How I would meet knight d2? Not easy. Maybe I could take rook e8, rook c7.
Right. And then I was going to play rook to e1 and say, haha, I got your bishop on f1.
Cool. Nice spot.
Yeah, I think the activity is very important in an endgame like this. And then knight on d6 doesn't actually do too much for the moment, but perhaps she says, I want to put my knight on c4. And so if you play bishop to b6, trying to get my a5 pawn, then I play knight c4 and say, feel free to take it and get to an opposite color bishop position. You're not going to win this.
Yeah, bishop d3. Nice to have two bishops.
So this rook wants to go to e7 at some point. Also, 10 seconds left for Alina.
Yeah, time is very big problem for her. Yeah, because blunders and everything, it happens in time trouble. I think she's able to defend this type of position if she had time.
Right, because it doesn't feel like it's so bad for black, but it does feel bad when you don't have any time. But it's also easy for white to play. H4, G5 ideas over on the king side. Okay, now black's pieces are stuck. There's no more progress to be made. So playing H4 and G5 feels reasonable. Starts with bishop C5 check, okay.
Yeah, maybe he can go H4 right away, yeah. H5, H5 is nice.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, tough. It's
So
really tough.
one of the questions I'm having is F5, like G6 and going after the H5 on possible? Feels like it's cementing your pawns on bad squares for white, but this H5 pawn is stuck over there. Instead plays F3.
F3 is weird. Was he afraid of bishop G4? No.
Bishop
and
G6.
you can play
no.
it. Yeah. Bishop G6, bishop E8.
Take on F6.
Oh, take on F6. Oh!
Check on F5, I guess he's going
to go for it.
I'm confused. I think he's just playing for her time.
Yeah. That's weird. That's not cool.
Yeah, bishop F8. Down goes G7. So that is officially the end of the 5-minute segment. Jan Nepomniachtchi goes perfect 9-0. And, you know, unfortunate for Alina because she did have a few good positions. I do think that some of them were not really her style. She got misplaced bishops or passive bishops and didn't really help out. And in this last game, I think, you know, if she had moved more quickly earlier on, which she definitely is capable of, she would have been able to hold.
Yeah, I agree with you. But maybe it was kind of a warm-up for her. So when we go into a shorter time control, maybe we will see her playing faster. Definitely, it's very difficult to face Jan, but I think she can put up a fight. Absolutely.
And we'll see the fight that she's ready to give. But in the meantime, we're going to take a short break and we'll be back. When we are back, it'll be the 3-minute segment of the Speed Chess Championship match.
Stay tuned.
are back getting ready for the 3-minute portion of the Speed Chess Championship match between Elina Danielian and Jan Nepomniachtchi. Sopiko, in the 5-minute portion, we did see Jan dominate, but it was a lot closer than the score appeared, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I agree with you. It is pretty tough for Elina, but I think the last games, it got better. She got better in time management as well. So I'm really hoping that in this segment, she'll do much better.
Yeah, it's not that Jan was in any danger of losing games in particular, but there were like at least 3-4 games where Elina could have, should have, would have held a draw if she had more time on the clock. So I do feel for her. I mean, I know from playing Jan online, it just can be not so fun at certain points when he's piling up all the points. Yeah. But I do think she is handling herself quite well in many of these positions. And I do think she will score some points in this 3-minute section.
Yeah, and actually we had a lot of interesting games and interesting concepts in the 5-minute section with a lot of tactics. So it was, anyway, very interesting to follow the games.
Yeah. And I said this earlier, and I really do believe it, that there are times when you have, you start with less time than in other time controls, but you move more quickly because of the fact that you have less time. So you see that Elina, she's going back to the position that got her a really nice edge, I'd say, in that game 2 games ago. So I think it's a good practical decision by her.
Yeah, I like it as well. And she's playing faster. She has more time on the clock than Jan. And I think she feels good in this type of position. So let's see, and let's see what happens. I really hope that she can score something in this game.
Yeah, I think even Jan might be rooting for her at this point, but we'll see. So we talk about this position: double F pawns for Black. Not really that big of a deal. They're actually quite strong. They help reinforce Black's center. They give all these squares under control. But when you see a position like this, Sopiko, where does your mind take you? What do you like? Which side would you prefer to have, actually?
Exactly in this position, I think I would prefer to be with Black pieces because I like 2 bishops. I like that there is no danger to the king. King is pretty safe in the center. It controls a very important d7, d6, d8 squares, and it supports rook trade at some point with rook d8. What I dislike for white is that I don't like the knight on f3. I don't think it belongs there. I would prefer to have my bishop on f3, but I don't know where the knight should go. Maybe ideal would be if I have my knight on b5 and bishop f3.
Yeah, that actually makes perfect sense. And at some point, you would like to play a move like knight d4, but there are always problems. Knight a4 is a good move, hitting this bishop on c5, because what I was going to say, if you play knight d4, and then there was a trade on d4, I think they're often rook sacrifices for the moment to make use of the pin on diagonal. You just have to be very careful about that for allowing Black a trade on the d4 square.
Yeah, and when the g file is open, I think it gives Black more opportunity to have counter attack on the king side, like rook g8, h5, h4. It's very easy for Black to play.
And here Jan goes after the king side that you're talking about. Here the h2 pawn is under threat and saying, I'll give you the b6 as long as I get to take h2. And I like this move, bishop f3. I mean, I think Alina, look, she's up 8 seconds on the clock. Yeah. Her position is quite good here. And this is where having double pawns is bad, because you have these double pawns, which in endgames are not so useful. And on the other hand, Alina says, I have a bunch of pawns on the queen side that I can start pushing. So knight a4 played. Now rook g3 check is, I guess, a pretty annoying threat.
Only danger in white's position is the king. I don't like that it's on f3. I would go king f2 back. I don't know if it makes sense in this position, but I would want my king to be safe. Otherwise, I really like the pawns on c4, d4, maybe b4 at some point. But we shouldn't forget that Black has also strong chances on the king side.
Yeah, this is where Alina is saying, I understand my king side is in some trouble. h3 at some moment for black seems like a reasonable choice. But Alina's like, I want to play d5 myself, because if I play d5, I'm threatening d6 with check. And okay, don't play it just yet. Oh, well, you could play it, but you do need to watch out about the second rank.
Yeah.
That could be very annoying at the right moment.
Yeah, maybe rook h2. Is it a threat now? Rook h2 was a threat, yeah? King d3, bishop f4.
Right, so just to show, let's say I make some random move. If you go king to e3, then bishop f4 check comes, distracting the king away from the protection of the rook. So that would have lost material. And instead, king e2, bishop f4 played. And Alina saying, I'm happy to trade rooks because of having the queenside pass pawns. And if the rooks are traded, I'm going to play b4 and push these pawns. And she can do that even with the rooks on the board. And she will try to do that. And here,
Knight b5, c6, c7. She still has chances.
Yeah, chances not just to draw, to win this game.
Yeah.
And actually, c6, c7 is a pretty annoying threat. Now, don't blunder.
Yeah, just no blunders. But I like that there is nothing going on the king side. Like these pawns are not going anywhere. F7 and F5 pawns. That's the drawback of having double pawns.
Yep. Definite drawback. And a4, so it's committal by Alina, and rook to b4 will attack these pawns in the fourth rank. But as you brought up earlier, c6, c7 is an immediate threat that Jan needs to deal with. So what about c6 now?
Yeah.
Blocking with the bishop.
Maybe d5 and knight d4.
Ah, that's a very good plan.
Or d5, bishop b6 would be there.
d5, rook d2 as well. It's just like a, here, take my pawn, and I'm going to try to get it back. But this rook can go to e3 check now and come back to e5 to protect a pawn on d5. So you have to be a bit careful.
Yeah, maybe king f1 or king f2.
Oh, actually, I really like king e2. I think was a mistake. I think king should have gotten off the second rank so that the rook could come down to for like g8. You want to get your rook active rather than sitting on the second rank. You would love it to get to the g8 square where this king on d8 will be in some trouble.
But she's definitely doing much better. She just really needs to hurry up. She has 16 seconds on the clock. It's not easy to play this, but she can do it. She can do it.
So rook b4 here is a possibility, trying to take a4 and bring the rook back down to a1 check.
Maybe rook b4. I still have to play b3, rook b3, and then d5.
Oh,
no. No, there's mate. Yeah.
Yeah, I could tell you were seeing it as you were saying it. It's one of those moments where, like,
yeah,
I mean, it's a distraction idea just doesn't work out. It's rook d3. You want to take on f3 with the rook, makes sense. And then f7 is so c7 check here would have liquidated, but she was knight d6 still trying to get after this f7 pawn. So take it. Bishop takes d4.
Oh, I'm afraid. I'm still very afraid because of 1 second. 1 second on the clock.
86 check. Oh, Jan blundered.
Oh, that's good. But will she be able to draw this?
Well, if Jan tries to c7. d7.
7. Oh, that's nice. King b7.
Yeah, I think Jan not only blundered into a draw, he was close.
Oh my God.
No! Time!
Knight d4. It was just winning a piece.
Yeah, it would have been rook and knight, end up being rook and knight versus rook, but
missed chance, definitely.
Another one.
Yeah.
Oh. She had it.
Yeah.
She's actually playing quite well. It's, you know, if you just talk about the quality of her moves, she probably is somewhere in like the 2.5, 2.5 out of 10 territory, which would be a great result for considering the rating difference. But because of the time and critical blunders, she has 0.
Yeah. And we have Caro-Kann on the board.
Yeah, Caro-Kann, which should make you happy.
Oh no, I've never played it.
Yeah.
I know all Georgians play, but I never played Caro-Kann. But Elina is playing it all the time. French and Caro-Kann, both.
I'm just trying to support the Georgian opening.
I'm not in that league.
Well, the Caricon is a better French. That's what I always call it. White gains space, but in the Caricon, as compared to the French, the bishop is not sitting behind this pawn on e6. Normally, you see a bishop on c8 being terrible in a French. In the Caricon, that bishop gets out very quickly. And I actually don't mind Alina's position here. She's going to try to put a knight on d5.
Yeah.
Very solid setup. She can try to take on f4 to remove the guard of the d pawn. I think she's doing well again.
Yeah, she's doing well again, and the d5 square looks very nice. And these bishops now, it doesn't feel like white has good two bishops.
Right, because the bishops, especially the one e3, doesn't have a diagonal to work with. So it's not going to be.
I like it. f5, f6, whatever. I don't know. f6 or f5. Mate, go for mate. Alina, come on.
Just open up the f file, use your rooks. It makes a lot of sense because the problem for white is this pawn is on f2, so you can't actually get active.
Yeah.
And e4 is now protected. So play rook f5.
Rook f5, rook, even f3 I wanted to play, but that's too much.
Actually, rook f3 is probably a good move.
Yeah.
Similar idea. So now rook f3 she might play.
No, now just rook f8 and knight f4. There should be mate somewhere, no? Rook f8.
But the e4 pawn's hanging.
Oh, pawn is hanging. Oh, yeah.
Rook f8 played.
Then knight e4. Anyway, I think I like it. Knight f4.
Yeah, I'm actually starting to side with you here. Knight f4 looks really strong. Just go for the attack. Just keep going. And
yeah, come on.
I like it. I like what you're thinking about, and I think that this is just the aggressive position that she needs. And d4 is also a vulnerable pawn. So if you ever take me on f4 and I take back with the rook, then your d4 pawn is lost. Immediately, knight takes h3 is a pretty devastating threat. This has to be really good for black.
Yeah, and if she can win this game, we can say that she just outplayed Jan.
Yes, she has been outplaying Jan in this game for sure. And how does she kind of finish this game off, though? How do we go from having a position that looks good to a position that's just really...
Rook g5?
So I guess she's worried about some kind of rook c8 check, but maybe you're right. Like if you go rook g5, your king can snake out to the h6 square, where it's very, very safe. h6 I don't like.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's fine, but I don't particularly love it.
Queen g3, ooh, that's not nice.
Rook g5, still rook g5.
Still rook g5, yeah?
I think so.
Yeah, but I wanted to have queens on board.
I agree. So then, nope, nowhere to move the queen. So, yeah.
Yeah, she's taking too much time.
Tough moment because she wants to keep the queens on the board as well. But rook g5, she took 27 seconds to make, and h6 also took 27 seconds. She definitely could have played rook g5 a little bit more quickly.
Yeah.
And okay, so king f1.
Yeah,
maybe.
Knight f3 is a threat now.
Mm-hmm. Rook f4.
But I'm not as excited as I was before.
Yeah, I mean, the position looked excellent earlier. Now it just looks like bishop e4 check is going to be a bit of an issue.
Oh, bishop e4 looked very good.
Yeah, Jan's going for a similar idea, but now he's not getting his bishop to e4. But he's trading pieces. He'll put his rook on c7 near future.
This looks already good for white. Rook c7. He can take another pawn.
Rook c4. Interesting moment. I'll go rook a4 now. And just king takes e5.
But he could do it right away with rook a8, no?
Yep. Whoa.
Oh, my goodness.
I think she just forgot about that bishop, sadly.
Ooh.
Well, Nepo's looking good. You know, he's, of course, you're winning a lot of games. Maybe you take your foot off the pedal a little bit. But let's also talk about the daily question, some of the responses we've gotten. Because to remind everybody, the daily question was who will win the Speed Chess Championship, and we've gotten some good responses. First by Dayon Kulum saying, "I feel like Ding, with his current form, is the favorite. Even Naka is struggling in Blitz, and Ding is in the form of his league." We also have Roni Polak saying, "Ding Liren is a very good speed chess player, an extraordinary classical player, but he still doesn't compare to Akar on faster-paced chess." And finally, we have Ajay Arvind saying, "I'm going to throw a curveball and say that MVL will win. I have a gut feeling that MVL is going to emerge victorious." Sopiko, what do you make of their predictions at the Speed Chess Championship?
MVL, I think, is a pretty good choice because he's really good blitz player as well. But I do agree that Hikaru is favorite.
Okay, I think I have to agree with you. What about Ding?
I don't know. He's in great shape now. He won the St. Louis, and then he won his match against Sam Shankland. And he's a genius. I think he's a genius. But I think Hikaru has more experience with online chess.
Yep.
And of course, he could win it. It wouldn't be a surprise if Ding wins it. But I still think that he lacks a bit of online chess experience.
Yeah, I also agree with that. Ding is not the most frequent player on the internet, it seems, but he did prove mighty against Sam Shankland. But at the end of the day, you have to give the player with the most experience and also the highest ratings, that is Hikaru Nakamura, the nod. And everyone is curious how Alireza Firouzja will do, because Alireza is just 16 years old. He's new to the 2000 club, classical chess, and he's just a very, very good player. But it will be very tough for him to go round after round.
Didn't he win the World Blitz? No, not World, Asian Blitz?
Probably.
I think so.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But he's just so strong, and he's so fast with mouse speed. So we'll see how that happens.
Yeah.
All right, this game here. So Alina with white, she has good pieces, which we haven't seen in every game. But
Sure.
right now, the bishop on b1, staring at the king side, the h7 square. Knight on b4 will be kicked out with a3 at some moment soon, perhaps now. But Jan is trying to back that knight up to d5 and just offer some trades. So which side would you prefer to have here?
I think white. Once again, I like that pieces are looking at the king, so I have some chances to mate. But maybe I'm over-optimistic.
Well, I like the bishops. I agree, and I like the bishop on e4. Whoa.
Ooh, but bishop h7 and queen c2.
Look at you. Tactics. Let's go. You were Miss Tactics, right?
I was.
Miss Tactics saying, check to your miserable king, and then I'll deal with the bishop on e3. So let's see. She found it.
That's a blunder by Jan.
Yep. So now she is simply up a pawn.
Yep.
But of course, black has great chances to hold this game because the pawn is an h pawn. And that may be important if there's an attack, but where it's not important is in the end game. It's less important. It's not unimportant, but less important. So right now, the rook on c2 is very strong. She'll probably put a rook on 1.
Can I take on b6 as well? Queen b6?
Oh gosh, you're a tactical wizard and you're getting greedy. I think you get on b6.
Greedy just.
If Yasser Sararon was here, he would say greed is good. Definitely would have taken that pawn. In fact, she probably should have. Yeah. But now she's just trying to make sure she's safe and then play this position up a pawn for the rest of the game. In fact, keeping the rooks on the board is worse for the black king. Yeah. Because that king could find itself in some trouble.
Yeah, but in this game, she's really fine. She has 1 minute, over a minute on the clock, and she has an extra pawn. So I think she should be really fine in this game.
This queen might go to g3 to g5, something like that. Go for the attack, just try to get to the f6 square. There's queen g3. If rook c2, you just play rook d6. say, go for my b2 pawn. I'm going to try to mate your king real quick. Yeah. Oh, okay, or not.
Queen c3 was possible.
Yep. Yeah. She's just taking the safe approach. Queen f3.
Yeah.
And try to slowly push her pawns forward. And while she's up a pawn in this position, though she's down 12 seconds. And is she trying to force?
Oh, yeah, probably queen f6 and her passion.
She wants to end the game, get on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still nice. Half a point.
Yep. And, well, Jan missed the tactic with bishop takes h7 check.
Yeah.
You spotted it. Alina spotted it. Jan did not, and that's why he was down a pawn for the majority of that game.
Yeah.
And
so Jan can also miss tactics.
He is not infallible. That is true. Yeah. I do think that this should help Alina. Just finally take a breath. You got some points. Stay cool. And she's playing pretty well.
Yeah.
I do have to reiterate that it's not just, she's playing miserably every single game. She's just playing really slowly in I'll say the classical portion, but the 5-minute portion, the longest list. Yeah. And, I'm very happy that she was able to score that point, and I hope she can continue pushing Jan the rest of the way.
I agree with you. She's doing fine, and this pressure of having 0 points in the match is gone. So now maybe she will play much faster and much better.
Yeah, she has been playing faster. That's very true. And right now with Black, this is a position that she should feel comfortable with. Let's say QGA that's turned very symmetrical. Black can castle and just make sure that you cover some of your weak squares. White will try to go bishop f3. At some moments, you get the c6 square, but Black's moves are quite natural. You like queen f6, rook f to d8, and it's not too difficult to play a position like this quickly. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I agree with you. Queen e7, rook d8. It's easy for Black.
So a4 is an aggressive move, but also a very risky move, because with playing your pawn on a4, your pawn on b3 becomes a potential target, although you want to play knight d2 to c4 at some moment. However, I was just watching Title Tuesday yesterday, and Dariusz Svirch lost a game on the white side of a position like this because Black got the knight into c3, and that can be a big problem.
Yeah. I was wondering, actually, maybe it would have been better if she went knight e4 instead of rook d8, not to allow this knight d2, or it doesn't make much sense.
Knight e4 certainly makes sense. Just trying to challenge the d2 square and offer a trade. I think that perhaps she's not too worried about this knight on d2, but now she's thinking. So maybe your move was just better.
Maybe she's thinking about e5.
Okay. Always a risky move to play, but not necessarily a bad move, because you're kicking this knight away from d4. And even if you give the f5 square, your queen can just venture up to e6 and try to challenge the knight. 5. So knight e5 played. What is to stop knight c4? Okay, clear.
Yeah.
But what can white do now?
I like knight e5. Queen a1, rook c1 is a very common plan.
Yeah. Now the knight on e5 is also quite vulnerable to some kind of knight takes e6 idea, where I get my knight out of the way and I take your knight on e5. So be very careful with it.
Yeah. There is no attacking chances like knight g4, queen h4, knight f4, h3. Then I don't know what I can do. Maybe knight queen h4. Can I play like that? Knight f4, h3, queen h4. No, I'm just losing, right?
You could try something like that. If I take you on g4, knight takes g4, bishop takes g4, bishop takes g2 kind of thing. I mean, just looks interesting at the very least. And for blitz especially, that's something that you might want to keep an eye on. She has 20 seconds left to his 2 minutes.
Oh my God.
No, you can't play this slowly.
Yeah. She should hurry up.
Now she wants to go knight g4 though.
Yeah, but h3. After h3, I don't think it makes much sense to go knight g4.
Nope. 6, calm move, clearing of the back rank. Just, okay, rook c7. I was going to say take on c1, play knight d5 was another option. Put that knight in d5. There it is. Okay, and then I might find its way to c3 at some point.
Yeah, she's still in the game, and I still like Black's position, but I'm really worried that she has 8 seconds on the clock.
I am also concerned about that. I was wondering if some kind of knight takes e3, going for the g2 pawn would work. It doesn't look like it worked out. Oh.
Oops. What's that?
Knight takes e6. Oh, but knight takes e6, knight c3.
Oh, that's nice. That's a very nice one.
Just to block the diagonal and say, please take me on c3. Knight c3.
Yeah.
Threatening here, saying, I will take back with a pawn on c3. No, black is... I didn't see knight to d4, but I still feel like black is doing okay here.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Queen d6. I liked queen g6 there instead. But here... Oh, time!
Time again. Big problem for Elina in this match. Really big problem.
It hurts. Oh, Sopiko.
Tough. It's really tough. She really needs to play faster, but I understand her because she has such interesting games where you really need to calculate, and it's very complicated position, so you just don't want to go for some kind of sacrifice which just doesn't make sense, and it kind of takes time.
Yeah. Yeah, she was having to make sure all her pieces were protected and just making sure she didn't blunder. And of course, the biggest blunder of all is losing on time. So I think Jan's experience with Blitz, because he plays a lot of Blitz in the Grand Chess Tour online, and Alina's relative inexperience. She did win the WSCC, but that was several months ago. And she doesn't have the same kind of over-the-board Blitz to keep her in check, to make sure that she's really keeping an eye on her clock. I think that is certainly something she's struggling with today. Very obviously, lost some time in like 5 games.
Yeah, and I actually think that still it's very nice to see that Alina gets good positions, just she's losing on time. But she does get in most of the games, not most, no, half of the games, she got good positions.
Yep. And as we see Alina's quote, I like when I have time to think, to fight, to create, and to find interesting ideas.
Yeah.
Sounds like she prefers classical chess.
It does. And I think Bullet, she just thinks that she just wants to have fun.
Yeah. I mean, Bullet is just, for me, it's just like not even chess. I just play it sometimes to blow off steam. And when I see people playing 30-second hyper Bullet, I'm just like, what's going on here? Not even.
That's not for me.
Yeah, not for me at all. But her position right now, I think it's for me. I like it. With the white pieces here, has great queen, has control of the open file. So rook d3 followed by rook to d1. Okay, she went rook c1, but I thought they'd try to put her rook on the d file.
I don't have time for any kind of g4, g3, king g2, rook h1 maybe at some point.
Feels like a bit of a long story. I see what you're going for, is trying to go for an attack, but it feels like it takes too many moves and black will be able to coordinate. And here, knight d7, likely what she's going to play. There it is.
Yep.
And okay. What is she going to do now? You'd love to be able to jump over your knight and play rook to c7. Get that other rook on the 7th rank would be pretty amazing.
Yeah, I don't like this knight now. I really would want to have g5, g4, g5.
Yeah. What does queen f3 do? Why is this queen on f3?
Maybe she knight e4 just drops the pawn. Maybe if Jan didn't play rook h7, she wanted knight e4, rook c7.
Right. Yeah, that does make sense. So she puts her rook on d3 to protect this knight on c3, so she can play rook c to d1. doesn't actually help too much because then bishop takes c3 shatters white's queenside pawn structure, and once that happens, you just have a bunch of weaknesses to do. So it looks like the worst is certainly behind Jan. His position did not look particularly good earlier, and now it seems to be in black's favor.
It does. The pawns also are on, b2 and a3, they were on dark squares, but after trading, would you trade it actually? I thought that maybe he could put more pressure.
Yeah, I think I would have traded. It just feels like now it's playing for two results.
Yeah.
The clock situation is such that, if you're Alina, do you have to worry about your pawn? Do you say, okay, I need to go protect my A pawn? And that's when sort of mistakes happen. You start playing more passively. All right, queen on e5 looks good. Play rook d4, I think. It is.
Rook c8.
Then rook d8 check.
Then rook d8, yeah.
Would love to have been able to get rook d8 check in. And fortunately, Jan is coordinating well. Okay. Got rid of one of the weaknesses. What do you rate Alina's odds in this position?
I don't know. I don't have high hopes seeing 14 seconds on clock.
I'd have to agree. Unfortunately, rook d8 here.
Yep.
The rook d8. Queen d2 is also reasonable, but rook d8 felt right. Going g5.
5, yeah. No, c4. c5 maybe.
Or it's a3. Okay.
Maybe rook d8. Can I defend that?
The problem with rook d8 is once you play king h7, like you're just trying to get your queen behind this pawn. As long as you're behind the pawn, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
She's going for some sort of attack.
But I don't think it works.
Oh, time again. Time again.
Yeah. She should play faster. But of course, it's easier for us to say that she should play faster. I wouldn't want to be on Elina's place right now. But yeah.
Yeah, it's just game after game. Same situation, honestly. It's going down a minute on the clock very early, then struggling to stay in the game. And then when you are staying in the game, you have no time left to convert into a half point or a full point.
Yep. I like this for white.
Yeah. Well, you
really like it.
You've expressed you're not a Caricon player. You've let the rest of Georgia down.
Yeah. Disappointed. Full Georgia.
Serious question. What percentage of Georgian chess players do you think play the Caricon?
I think nowadays it's much less. I think like 10, 15 years ago, it was like 80%.
Oh my gosh, 80%.
Yeah, because even if you were like 6-year-old kid, they would teach you Caricon as your response on e4.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I think most of them are playing e4, e5, or Sicilian.
Okay.
Everybody's tired of Caricon.
Yeah, I can understand that. Very solid, but not super active, and I can get avoiding that. But we see in this position exactly that. Black is solid. The base pawns, these b7, c6, f7, e6, very solid. But white is more active because of the bishop pair and just more space under his control.
Yep. a4, bishop c2, and I just like two bishops here in this position. They both have open diagonals, and all the pieces are on good squares. Just the queen, I think, can be improved. Maybe we can create battery on b1, h7 diagonal.
Go over for the h7 pawn, try to checkmate. White has locked down the queen side, although at some point c4 is an option for Nepo to play, because by playing for c4, you offer an exchange of pawns, but the c6 pawn might become a target.
Yeah.
Something that white always needs to consider is this break c4, because bishops need open space.
Right.
I think your idea is coming. h4, h5.
Nowadays it's Alpha Zero or Henry, right? On Henry.
Yep. Harry the h pawn.
Oh, Harry, yeah, not Henry. Harry.
Yeah, who's Henry?
I don't know. Just made it up.
You clearly don't watch enough Simon Williams Ginger.
No.
I'm really upset with you.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
Because it's Ari.
Harry. Okay. G4.
G4 for sure. I mean, this is your type of game. I can tell as soon as the position started taking shape. G4, try to play for h5, get an attack.
Yeah.
Problem for black is I control the b4 square, so black can never play b4, and it just seems very easy for white to play and make progress here.
Yeah. Rook d7. G4 is still there.
There it comes. Yeah, rook takes g4, h5 is coming next. Big attack.
Wait, but maybe f5?
Oh.
But rook g3, I can't do anything, yeah?
In the king f7 or something like that, just I guess h5.
I don't know. Maybe e5.
Okay, I like it.
E5, e4. Suddenly, I think it was not the right moment to play g4.
You did it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Well, sometimes the best way to defend is by getting aggressive in the center, right? So by playing f5, challenge the rook there, and then playing e5, you can play e4 next.
Yeah.
Black is the one with the activity and a lot of space. This bishop on c2 doesn't look very good anymore.
Yeah, I like this e4, f5 pawn chain. The only problem might be that the g6 pawn might be weak, and at some point I might be afraid of h5, but I think rook e6 is a very nice move. 12 seconds, once again, it's a big problem for Elina. I think she has a very good position, but once again, time management is just terrible.
Yeah, this is looking good for black, at least optically. You have this pawn chain that is currently defended, but with no time on the clock. At some point, h5 will likely happen to break open the position. And once that does happen, it's not going to be too fun. Rook h6 was played. I think other moves are possible, but okay, fair enough. Rook takes f5 is certainly tempting.
Oh, yeah.
It does it.
Tactic.
Take back. Don't lose in time. Please don't lose in time.
Yeah.
I'm like begging at this point.
Yeah, but everything is hanging.
Yeah. Queen g8
Oh,
mate.
rook on d8 is also. Oh, queen g8 mate. Yeah.
I guess she saw it before he did. Yeah, that one turned fast. Turned real fast there.
Yeah, but I loved that she took the chance of f5 and e5.
She had to, yeah, and you're right. You called it. You found the defensive resource, and her position got better, but unfortunately, in time trouble with a king side that is quite exposed, not going to be easy to defend. Really not possible.
Right.
Now we have another normal position.
Yeah.
And is Elina going to play for c5, b4, and play for an advanced pawn structure on the queen side, or is she just going to keep she answered the question, keeping the status quo?
I think she will keep the tension. At least that's what I like to do, because when I play early c5, b4, and it actually doesn't bring anything to me, then I'm just afraid of e5 pawn breaks.
And by allowing Jan to take on c4 and bring the knight back, once knight takes c4, you don't have these e5 pawn breaks that you were just talking about.
Yeah.
But knight takes c4 and knight takes f4 might need to be considered here. Oh, wait.
Knight f4, e2 is not hanging, yeah?
Oh, my gosh. There's knight on c3.
Yeah.
What's wrong with me, Sopiko? I can't find the tactics that you find.
Oh, come on. No, we all know how great you are. It just, you're too humble right now.
Well, it's been a while since we commentated together. It's been, we haven't commentated together since Wednesday, right?
Yeah, we did it.
How is that possible?
I don't know.
Too long.
Too.
Oh gosh, white center. It's growing. E4. Take with the pawn on C3.
I like it. I like it for white. Once again, I like Alina's position.
Yeah. This is, well, a great looking position. You have, look at the center, D4 and E4 pawns. So those are really nice. Black can't play C5 anytime soon with the queen hanging there on D8. So he's going for the dark squares. Does make sense.
I think that's kind of the only hope for Jan, to create something messy so that Elina takes her time. I mean, only hoping in case, because knight C4 in the center, it looks so good. I just think that black needs to create a counterplay.
Right. And which is why Jan is putting the bishop on F4, then we'll play queen to G5 or to H4 for to help out in an attack. Bishop F1, very safe, steady move.
King H2.
King H2, maybe G4 is also possible.
King
H2 is more reasonable. Play G3 now. If you...
Yeah, G3, I like G3. G3, go for G3.
I'm a fan of G3 as well.
I like it. G3 and then, no, she doesn't play.
Okay, she might try G3 next though.
Yeah, Queen F2 is also nice.
Knight.
Would you trade it? I would go knight D3. Yeah, knight D3.
For sure, knight D3. Look at this bishop on H7. It's behind a knight on G6. Yeah. Not really doing too much over there.
So finally, it's Jan who has bad bishop.
Yep. What about?
It's a nice try though.
I'm wondering about moves like H4 here, just to try to remove the guard. But H4 feels.
Cannot I take the pawn on A7 just? Queen A7.
You are so greedy today.
I'm generally greedy.
Just like, give me that pawn.
Only in chess though.
That's good. The right place to be greedy. But Queen takes A7, I think you can get away with it. And she does it.
Yeah, why not? I have great passer. Look at my A5 pawn.
That is a newly created pass pawn. So, but C3 is about to fall, it seems.
Oh yeah, this I didn't see.
But I still like what you did though, because you pass A pawn. So who cares with the C3 pawn? Just drop your bishop back to F1 here.
Yeah, bishop F1, then A6, Queen E7, A7. Yeah, just 30 seconds. Whew, okay.
Taking a breath, making sure that.
Yeah. Another game where I think she has advantage.
Looks like it to me. Looks like should be on her way to winning this game, not just holding. Bishop H5, going for tactics on F3.
Tactics. Queen F2. Come back or not.
Yeah. Also, Queen E7 is a move that I would consider, but Queen F2 is certainly the safe approach, protecting F3.
Yeah. A7.
Queen
A7.
B6. Yep, Queen B6.
Oh, Queen B6. Bishop F3, Rook D8, right?
Right, so I get away with it.
Oh, that's nice. 17 seconds. A7.
Okay, Rook D8 played, and now there's going to be some kind of draw, isn't there?
Oh. Queen B6.
King H2. Oh, King H2 is Queen takes A6. No.
Faster. Come on.
King H2. Wait, what?
I think this is also fine. I think Jan should make perpetual. Otherwise, A7, Queen B8. No? How can you stop it?
Just saying, just Bishop takes F3. Makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, King G3 or King G1?
Yeah. At some point, you're right. It will be a perpetual. Bishop takes f3, gf3, then a ton of checks on the 6.
Yeah.
He only has 3.9 seconds left, so you know that Jan is trying to confuse and win on the clock.
But I'm sure she could win this one. I'm sure that it was winning.
Yeah. Looked very close to being
Yeah.
the win. She's 4.2 seconds left, so she's still hanging in there.
Yeah. It's Jan who is thinking if he can get more out of this position.
Well, he smartly brought his queen.
Maybe king g3 is better because, yeah, he brought his king. Oh, that's so tricky.
Oh, on time again.
Very tricky. I think if Elina went king g3, Jan wouldn't have this checks, then it would be draw.
Yeah, I mean, the king g3, they would not, like you said, wouldn't expect to go to a2 to stop the pawn.
Yeah.
It's just so frustrating. So bad, you know. That game was hers for the taking, but once again, time trouble.
Yeah.
Her biggest nuisance. Yeah, I agree. How many times has she flagged? Asked Honda. I don't know, like 6 or 7.
Yeah. She definitely puts up a great fight, but she's just not in time to convert winning position or draw an equal one.
Yeah, and we have another Caro-Kann, another solid position, but lacking space, easy for white to play. Jan should be quite content here with the opening.
Yeah, for sure. I think we should also mention that Jan is great because we've seen how his skills, like it's really seen how skillful he is when it comes to when he's very tricky or flagging your opponent. It's just like experience of online chess.
Yep.
He's super strong as well.
Yeah, he's got a pretty great combination of just being, 27, 80, whatever his rating is, something like that.
Yeah.
And we see GM Daniel Naroditsky in the chat saying, yeah, he's not a good guy to be in time pressure with. And if anyone could speak and attest to that, it is Danya, because he has played all of these top players so many times.
Yeah.
It's not fun to be playing on mere increment against someone so strong.
Yeah, sure. C5.
Okay. Pawn's on h4, so clearly white had some aggressive intentions on the king side. So breaking in the center felt like the right time to do so. Queen on f3 does attack this pawn on b7. So that's why b6 was played.
Yeah, I have to say that I like white once again. All these type of positions with 2 bishops coming out of Caro-Kann, I really like for white.
2 bishops, open space, g4, g5, clearly a thought that is going through Sopiko's mind, so I was going to say it out loud.
Yeah, you guessed it.
I know, just going for the attack.
Yeah, you know me very well.
Yeah, it's just, it's become easy to be like, okay, I got this. I'm going to take the reins on and be all tactical here. But is black in that much danger, right? Can Alina just sort of say, I'm going to put my rooks on the d file. I'm just going to do a lot of nothing, essentially. But I think you have to probably make a move. Queen b7 is an option here, but she didn't want to trade queens. I think queen b7 would be met by bishop takes f6, maybe? I don't really know. But, I mean, you could take on b7, just trade, I guess, and play bishop b6.
Maybe after g4, queen b7 makes sense, or it doesn't?
It does. I think that white will still try to just push g5 at some moment soon. Saying, the queen trade is all good and fun, but the attack is still going to be strong.
Yeah. And she takes way too much time. Once again, it's not easy, though we have to do something about g5 because g5 is pretty direct threat.
Yep. So how do you stop g5?
Yeah. Off it at all? I don't know.
Knight h7.
I don't like that, but
Queen e4 should be.
yeah, Queen e4, e6, and
Is f5 coming again?
but h5, knight g5.
And then g5, and then queen goes to b7 with check.
Yeah,
Tables are turning a little bit here.
yeah. Jan misplaying it a bit.
So queen b7, I guess. Take on h5 first, okay.
Yeah, that's also fine.
What about f4 here?
Ah, maybe still check queen c6.
And then king. Oh, I can't go king g3, but I'll go king f2.
Yeah, king f2, and then what to do here? Bishop c5, bishop d4.
Nice. Bishop b4, rook takes d4. Oh my gosh. Rook
Oh yeah.
d4,
Oh yeah, and then you have queen f3, right?
Yeah, this king is in harm's way right now. It's
Oh
on,
yeah.
on the board. So play rook takes
Yeah.
d4.
Oh, what is that?
She did it. Let's see. Oh, bishop h7 check.
Oh, but it was nice to take with knight, no? Then you wouldn't have problem. Wow, e5. Look at that move.
What?
Wow.
Distract the pawn from f4.
Yeah, if I take on g5, I mean, I can take on g5, but if I take on e5,
Nah.
no.
Sad news.
Yeah. Once again, time was a problem.
Oh, just good tactical vision, alertness by Jan.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be a problem. Queen d4 check. Okay.
Yeah, this is over.
Those chances actually here. I think some of Jan's decision was just out of being just like, I'm going to try to win on time again. But right now, black is up a pawn. The king on f2 is some trouble.
Yeah.
Not checkmating trouble, but
I agree with you. Actually, whenever I was commentating and I would just say, oh, this is over, then I would jinx somebody. It would end either in a draw or the one would lose, which was supposed to win. So I'm just going to keep saying that this is over.
Well, you know me. I don't really believe it's over till it's really over, but it still look good for Nepo here, as the queen on e5 is such a dominant piece.
It is, though queen endgame, and with such king, probably Elina has great chances to draw it. Just the problem is that time is a big, big problem, and Jan is very tricky.
Yep.
And yeah. But he's taking his time, though.
But she has, barely 3 seconds on the clock with most of these moves.
Oh yeah.
But she's holding. She's holding because her queen can always go to d5. If that queen, a white queen goes away and takes the a7 pawn, for example. Queen d5 check. Yeah. Hey, they drew.
Oh, nice.
So she held that one. That was a really tough match because I thought at that point Nepo was taking it, but not to be for him.
Yeah. That feels like a win, doesn't it? That feels like a victory.
It really does because, of course, on the scoreboard, it's been very lopsided. But in addition, she's had chances in so many different games and unfortunately haven't gone her way. But finally, she's going to continue to get on the scoreboard.
Yep.
And, even if she's losing the games, as I mentioned earlier, because she will be playing in Isle of Man, she qualified by winning the WSCC. This is very good practice against elite competition. I think she will really benefit from this match.
Oh, definitely. And I think she said it even that that's a great practice for her.
Yeah, it really is. It's something that a lot of players do not get to experience very often, right? Playing Jan Nepomniachtchi game after game after game.
Yeah, that's true. So we have same opening.
And let's see. Double pawns for black, 2 bishops for white. Just a solid position through and through. And she's doing okay on the clock for right now, but she needs to keep the pace. She does not want to spend 25 seconds needlessly Just go. Just play.
Yeah.
So she's now worried about her c4 pawn. How would you respond? Would you necessarily take or not? But there's the answer.
Yeah. She already took it. I think that's right decision because I didn't like c5. And otherwise, yeah, you cannot go bishop f1 because pawn is hanging on g4.
Do you think that white is going to play for e4 here?
It's very logical, isn't it? You want to open up your bishops and you want to open up the files as the king is in the center so far.
Yep, and you can't castle queenside. If you castle queenside, knight takes d5, making use of the pinned c pawn. So after knight d5, bishop d5, white has simply won a pawn.
Yep. Can I play? I cannot play probably e4 right away here. I'm a bit afraid that I'm gonna lose something.
Yeah.
But queen f5 is nice. g5 pawn is also a pawn.
It is, and white's king is feeling safe on the queen side. The bishop on d2 protects the knight on c3, and knight h7 is not the move you typically want to play.
Yeah.
You're doing it to protect the pawn, but not the type of move you really want.
Maybe now I can play e4.
Yes, for sure. Now the knight's away from f6, and you're hitting the d5 pawn more forcibly, and looks good.
Yeah, it does. It looks really good.
e6, queen f3 looks like the only. Oh, queen c2. Well, why do I think
also possible?
Okay.
Take. I like it. I really like it for white.
So would you take on g5 or leave the tension?
I think I would leave it because I don't like knight on h7. I mean, I think it's a bad piece. Knight on h7. I would rather go h5 rather than take on g5.
Okay. You want to push h5. His knight on h7 is not doing so much. It's not a very good piece. And that keeps white's control of the h file alive. So knight f6.
Yeah, but e5. Just inviting e5, isn't it?
Yep. Because knight takes g4.
Bishop h3, no? Bishop h3, yeah.
Nice. Let me pull that up real quick. Bishop h3, f5. You can take on g4 right away, but taking en passant and then playing f3 simply wins.
Oh, I spotted in chat a nice tactic. Bishop d5 as Seeps chess. It just gone now, but well done, our viewers. Bishop d5 is a very nice tactic, isn't it? Does it work? Bishop d5, cd, queen, bishop a5? No.
Queen c6.
No, maybe. Yeah.
That's a very good idea.
Yeah. Maybe he meant bishop a5 instead of bishop d5.
Wait, bishop
a5? No?
Yeah. Okay, this makes sense too. Alina just said, I'm going to take a pawn. I have two bishops. I'll go f4, f5. And bishop a5 is still a threat.
Yeah. King b1. Yeah, she just needs to play this fast. 30 seconds.
Here come the pawns.
f5. No time to think. Go. f5. Bishop f1. Bishop d3. Rook h7. Anything. Just don't lose on time.
Yeah, even e6 ideas to get a passed pawn seem pretty valid.
Yeah.
Bishop
take. Faster.
Agreed. Play instantly.
Rook h7.
Okay, this is also looking good, right?
Yeah.
Rook h7 comes next.
I think in this position, anything looks good.
No, white is winning, right?
Yeah.
She just take on g6. I would have taken on g6, then put my bishop on f5 back. Now you can't do it. What is she going to do here?
Faster. Rook h7. Just go rook h7.
Oh gosh, 6.9 seconds left.
It would be so pity if she loses this on time.
Yeah, I really hope she doesn't.
It would be really pity because I think she had many chances.
Yep, she did.
Mm.
So the G pawns are still good. They're still going to be able to push up the board. G6 coming next. Bishop on F5, very strong piece, protected there.
Yeah. It's not as much as it was. I think she was like, she gave some chances.
Yeah.
But it still looks good.
Yeah, but how to win it? That's the question, especially with 6 seconds left.
Yeah, that's... But Jan also has 16 seconds on the clock. First time?
Yeah, it seems like it's the first time he's down so low in the time. Okay, King A2. No, she blundered.
Oh, knight B3.
Didn't.
Did she?
Just
It's G7.
B6, Bishop B6.
Oh,
She
yeah.
won. She blundered. Yeah, I think she missed it, but she blundered, but stumbled into a winning variation.
Yeah. I think it's first victory. Should we say that G8? Come on.
Yep.
Yeah, come on.
There it is.
Yeah.
That also, not only does she get a win, it also ends the. Oh, I thought it ended the 3 minute.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't that end the 3 minute?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That ends the 3 minute. That is Elina Danielian getting her first victory of the match. And we are going to go on a break, a very short break, but we'll be back with the bullet segment after this. So stay tuned, everybody. We're having a lot of fun here.
Yeah, stay tuned.
back for the bullet segment of the Speed Chess Championship match between Elina Danielian and Jan Nepomniachtchi. And before we get back into the action, let's remind viewers of upcoming events that are taking place, because we see that there's the Speed Chess Championship, which we're in right now, the Pro Chess League qualifier on September 28th, the FIDE Chess.com Grand Swiss, which is in Isle of Man, and then finally the Fischer Random World Championship, which the semifinals and finals will take place in Norway at the end of October.
Yep.
Sopiko, Fischer Random, you're a fan, right?
I love it. I love Fischer Random. I played one tournament, only one tournament in my life, Fischer Random, but I won it. So I love it.
Whoa, congratulations. I mean,
Thank you.
I've never won a Fischer Random tournament, so you one-up me there, just like you afternoon.
Yeah, it was pretty strong when whole Georgian team was playing.
Can they play the Caro-Kann and Fischer Random? Is that why they lost? Because they couldn't play it?
They were trying.
They're like C6 on the first move. Wait a second. My king is on D8. Not good.
Yeah, they were trying.
Well, I guess I got to ask you, of the players that we saw in the field, you know, Spidler, Jan Nepomniachtchi himself was playing, Vidit. Which of those players, Nakamura, Caruana, do any of them stand out to you as being exceptional 960 players? Because I was going to say that Hikaru always seemed like an excellent 960 player, but he's getting crushed by Levon in St. Louis right now.
Yeah, I really think like it's about the position, what you get, which one you get. But Hikaru had a great experience as well. But yeah, you can never say that anybody's favorite in Fischer Random, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It's very random, right? It's in the name.
Yeah, exactly.
What's not so random, though, is his opening that we've seen many, many times. And look at Jan with 1 minute and 9 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, that's the Jan. That's the Jan I know. But I'm really happy that Alina managed to win one game because it's not easy. Imagine like you are playing against great Blitz player, one of the best Blitz player, online player as well, who is constantly streaming, who is very strong for anybody and who is great opponent for anybody, and you beat him. It feels so good.
Yep, and I can speak from experience. There was one time I had just done, I want to say it was during Zagreb, and I had just done like many hours of commentary, and then I was playing online, and I ended up playing Jan, and he beat me 10 straight games. So I know how it feels. I've been there, so I'm definitely feeling for Elina, but she's been playing very well. Like we keep saying, based on how she's played, she probably could have had several more points.
Yeah.
Does, but time has always been a problem. And right now, Jan has more time than he started with.
Yeah. I think now the challenge for Jan, if we actually told him that you should never go under 1 minute in every game.
He would try. He wouldn't stop.
Yeah, I guess he would manage. Oh, Queen H7, right? That's tricky. I thought he dropped the bishop, but Queen H7, Queen A8, mate.
Yep, and instead going right for an endgame with the bishop pair. So here we see that white has the 3 pawns and 2 on the queen side, and black needs to get the king over. But bishop g6, for example, will stop the king. Actually, the king can't even move. You go to king f7, king d8, then I just go bishop g6 anyway. So it seems very one-sided, this endgame.
My question is, though, would you want to go e5 and bring the king on e6, or you're afraid that bishop will be much better, like bishop f5, bishop g6 would be a problem for black?
Yeah, I think you ideally would play e5, but you, as you just point out, you really can't get it too soon because this knight on d7 has nowhere really to go. So if you play e5, the light square bishop will just take control over the board as it's doing anyway. So not fun. Not a fun end game.
Definitely.
Okay. Maybe you should play for f5.
Yeah. f5 looks nice. Some counter play.
Then she goes back and forth. She doesn't have much time left, so f5 still a possibility. Instead, drops the knight back. And now bishop g3, bishop d6. Oh, it's a blunder by Jan. Oh, bishop d6 was much better.
Yeah.
Because then you would have threatened that knight takes c4 and trade off the bishops.
Yeah, knight c4 anyway. That was very nice tactic.
Yep. So instead, she's still defending and still solidly defending, but it's just so uncomfortable to play this in bullet where white has all the space and all the moves. And now this king is about to run to g6, or not. I thought the king was going to run into the action. Now it's not so possible.
But I'm still very impressed by Alina. I mean, to play this endgame for so long, on 4 seconds, it's really impressive.
Yeah, but unfortunately it's lost. Bishop takes d7,
Yeah.
but like king 5 feels like a...
Yeah, king d5 and...
Maybe e4. Oh, okay. Or play nothing. Lost in time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it happens, right? It's tough to criticize too much because Jan is raised over 3,000.
Yeah.
And when he's focused and alert, he's beating all the top players in the world. So really tough for Alina. She knew that going in. I think she won't be too upset about the result, but it is a bit frustrating.
But I still like that she won one game.
Yeah, no, I am totally with you there. And she's fighting, and she's been the #1 female player in Armenia for a long time, although it looks like she's recently been passed by a patron of hers, but she's been such a staple of that very strong Armenian women's team. She's very well respected and liked in the chess community. I actually played her many years ago, 8-9 years ago, in the tournament in Greece. And it's nice. Her username is Classy L, and I think
I love that nickname.
It's a good descriptor because she is very classy.
Yeah, Classy L. Though Jan has a bit of surprising username for me.
Yeah, he's got a little Greek username going on for one of the 3 fates. He's showing his culture as well.
Yeah, he does, definitely.
Right now, I like Alina's position with the 2 bishops. I feel like there's been a theme, right? It's 2 bishops, 2 bishops, 2 bishops. And maybe it's because she plays the Caro-Kann as black, so we see it so often. But right now, with the white pieces, Alina's position looks very good.
Yeah, 2 bishops, center, and the C file is under control. I like it. Just 14 seconds. Oh my God. The time will be real problem, especially in bullet.
Yeah. So 13 seconds, but D6 is a problem. If you go D5.
Then I'll take it, just a 93.
Okay, that looks good. And yeah, just take 93, covering the bishop. Eventually this bishop can move out in diagonals. Yeah, it looks really nice for Alina. So E5 was played, but she also tried bishop G4.
I can take, yeah, bishop G4 is nice.
And bishop G4 coming for this knight. Here, knight
B6, knight D5 afterwards. No, knight B6 was winning a piece, no? Bishop C5.
Oh, yeah, wow. Yeah, would have won at least an exchange there. You're right.
Yeah.
But now knight B6 to D5. Oh, okay, getting a little bit more passive approach. Now, this is going wrong.
Yeah. Doesn't look good. 1 second. Oh my God.
And
okay. Yeah. And time. Yeah.
And I see Armenia Eagles joining the chat, presumably rooting for Alina.
Yeah.
But Jan, too strong.
Yeah.
Too strong.
Too fast. Too fast, too strong.
But is he too furious?
I don't know. Is he?
He's pretty calm. He's just hanging there. And we saw his cat before. I hope the cat comes back.
Oh yeah, it will, I guess. Looking at him, I would not imagine he would love cats. I don't know.
I don't know. It's hard for me to pinpoint what a cat person. Are you a cat person?
No.
Are you a dog person?
Probably more of a dog person.
Got it. But you're not a big, pet.
No, unfortunately, I'm scared of them.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not judging.
But I do think they are very lovely.
Um, trying to think what to. Oh, you see what was added to the stream?
Sorry?
You see what's added to the stream?
Oh, oh yeah. Oh, that's a nice one.
That's actually an amazing photo.
Yeah.
I hope.
I think it should be Jan's profile.
I actually really do. I think you should send it to Jan and he'll frame it. we need to make sure that we bring this up in the interviews and that it gets sent. It's an amazing photo.
Only one problem with this photo is that his man bun is not seen.
That's true. But he looks
like a weirdly cut hair.
But he looks so happy, so I think it has to, exist. We gotta let it go.
Yeah, it was a great picture though, and the cat looked very beautiful.
Yeah. And right now, speaking of beautiful, Jan's position once again looking very nice here. There is now a hanging bishop on e6, the rook on a8, and what move here? Bishop e7, took on e5, saying let's play simple chess.
Yeah.
And now a8 and e6 are still under attack, and time.
Yeah, time. Once again, time. But the position was already lost anyway. Ooh, f4. Oh, wow, that's a nice one. Forehand's taking.
And Jan laughed because I think he pre-moved knight f6 for the Dutch. And then he was like, oh, e4. Yeah, this is not pleasant for Jan now, but he's going to fight, of course.
Yeah, of course. I like his reaction though. He smiled like, oopsie.
He was just like, yeah. He's like, my bad. Yeah. This is why you don't pre-move all the time.
Yeah, true.
So let's see. How could you take this one? I mean, the position is so nice for white up 2 pawns. Yeah. Black's king is going to be in harm's way. This is an open diagonal. So,
knight d4, knight b5, bishop f3. I don't know.
You can't even castle queenside because knight b5 comes and just a big attack there. This bishop on f8.
Yeah, just take it.
Castle.
Looks really good. And she's doing perfect on time.
Yep.
Time is being good. So the only question is, can she convert it?
I hope so, but there's still, in an ironic way, there's still plenty of time left for bullet game. So there's plenty of time for her to not have much time left.
Yeah. I would just take it on f4 and then play bishop f3. Then e7 would be hanging as well.
Yep. Now bishop takes f4 is a big threat because of what you just said. And what is Jan going to do? He's getting in time trouble himself.
Yeah. That's nice for Alina.
Yeah, this is the game she kind of has to win.
Yeah.
So what is she going to do here? Knight b5, okay. Queen needs to stay attached to this knight on f4. That's why queen b8. But now bishop takes c5. Oh, wait, actually it's bishop f. She's thinking of bishop f4, bishop b7. And maybe bishop b7 right away, actually, just one piece.
She shouldn't just think
bishop
a lot.
b7.
Yeah, bishop b7. Okay, still winning anyway, but bishop b7 was just winning a piece.
Yeah. There's rook e1.
Oh.
That's desperate. That's not queen h2.
Oh my god. Oh my god. King e2. King e2. King e2. Please.
Oh no.
Master.
Wait, there's no. Oh, queen h3 checks the threat now. Wow, she found rook e3, king e1, king d2 now.
Wow. Wow.
Watch out. Oh, the queen's protected.
95? No.
This is nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it is.
So rook e1.
Rook e2.
Just,
rook e2.
Oh, gosh.
3 seconds. Oh, my God.
Rook e... No.
What happens?
Oh, I thought she lost in time, but she didn't.
Queen d4. Queen d4. Ouch. That's painful.
Yeah. She laughed. Painful. She laughed it off.
Yeah.
Like, what can I do?
Yeah.
Oh.
I like Jan's reaction. He's just like, yeah,
I was like, didn't mean to do that, but it happened. So here we are. All right. So once again, Elina has the black pieces, and she's going to try to play c5, which you can do right now, and say that, okay, usually you have a backward c pawn. Now I'm not going to have a backward c pawn because I'm going to trade it for your d pawn. And it's knight a6, misplaced. But, oh, queen c1.
Oh my God. That was a mouse sleep?
Yeah. Jan was like, oops.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, she can do this one.
I hope so. But I don't know. I'm not sold yet.
No. Come on. You have to be positive.
I'm very positive. You know me, I'm a positive.
Come on, you have to believe.
I'm a positive person. Come on, you know that.
Yeah, I do.
But right now, the time situation, the fact that her knight on a6 can't move, rook c4 is coming. I actually think white genuinely has counterplay. Like, not even because it's bullet, like in real chess, it's not over quite yet.
Seriously? Queen?
All right, I'll highlight this queen for you. See how nice.
Yeah, but okay. I could lose this one against you. You want to say that?
No. But
I could, for sure.
Uh-oh, there goes the knight on c5.
Take. Oh my God. Knight b3.
No, but knight b3, you just take queen.
Yeah. Oh, true. I told you I could lose this one.
But I told you it wasn't so easy.
Yeah. 10 seconds. Queen g5. Rook c5 and then knight e3.
Oh, queen h5 was smart. And Jan was smart in return.
Yeah.
Okay, queen e2. The bishop
2 seconds.
can only go there. Queen d1 check.
Yeah, I agree with you that it's not super easy. But maybe after this it's easy. Queen a2.
I don't know. Rook takes d5 here.
b3?
I'm not going knight d3 or something. And here Jan's trying, but now the pawn is
Queen a2. I really like queen a2 instead of queen a4.
g6 makes me nervous to see that, because when the rook gets to c8.
Yeah.
Okay, now just take the king. And she lost time. So frustrating for her. Two
games in a row.
She's just laughing it off. So I'm actually very impressed by how she's been composed this entire day.
Yeah.
Not easy to lose all these games, of course, and she was expected to be the heavy underdog, but time management, that is what is the problem. And in bullet, it's like, what's time management mean? I mean, how would you suggest people manage their time in bullet?
In bullet, I don't know, just play as fast as possible. Bullet, it's really so difficult to play. Everything is just about time, because of course Elina could convert the queen. Of course, I think with anybody she can convert the queen, but not when you have like a minute on clock. Yeah.
And I think that in the 5 minute, 3 minute, but particularly the 5 minute, I think it was worse than the 5 minute.
Yeah.
She spent a lot of time in the opening stages and positions which she definitely knows, was trying to be a perfectionist about. And in Blitz, you just don't have that time to spend on, is this the right move order? You got to trust yourself a little more. You have to be really saying, my instincts are fine. I got this. And right now with White, I mean, she's up a piece, not anymore, because that queen just attacked multiple pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is unpleasant.
It is very bad. It is very bad already.
Bishop takes.
But we should mention, actually, because I thought that the quality of games would worsen when they after an hour you get tired. So it was for me very easy to kind of imagine that Elina would lose every game in 3 minute portion, but she did great, and she's doing great in bullet.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same things that were plaguing her in the longer time controls have been plaguing her in bullet. It's not about finding the absolute best move. It's often about finding a good move, but finding it quickly. And Hikaru always says, finding the second best move or third best move that's still a good move instantly is much more valuable than spending 7 seconds finding the absolute best move. Of course, there's some positions where you have to find the best move, absolutely necessary, but others you can get away with second best.
Yeah, that is true. And I guess there exists like bullet openings, like where you can pre-move 10 moves. It's nice to know them.
For sure. And Alina made a mistake by taking on b8, but okay, she's still an exchange up, but those pawns are very advanced.
Yeah. It's very tricky.
e3, there it is.
King where?
King e3, but now f. You gotta push your f pawn, right? Go f4.
Yeah, 6 seconds. It's not enough to hold this one.
Yeah, now especially when you give up your f4 pawn and your h2 pawn, every pawn has been lost. d2, and that's it. King c2, queen.
Yep.
If the a pawns weren't on the board, it could potentially be a draw. You know me, highlighting rook pawns.
I do, but no, that was not meant to be. Knight f3, knight c3.
Well, trying just more fun stuff. And the knight e4, decent piece for black, but just like we saw in earlier variations, you take this bishop on g5, the knight would have draw the right arrow. Tried 2 times, couldn't do it right. But the knight would went to g5 and just white gets aggressive, castles and plays. So we have a sort of Caro-Kann structure anyway.
Without the bishop.
Without the bishop. So instead of bishop pair, both sides have knight and bishop.
But I think in this pawn structure, I would actually go for c4 instead of queen b6, c4, b5, as I don't have the bishop and the pawn is already on e5.
Right. That was definitely a good plan. And now is Jan just waiting for her to castle so he can sacrifice on h6?
Yeah, not going to happen. King d7. I like king d7.
Okay.
Like my king in the center.
No, it certainly makes perfect sense. There's king d7.
Yeah.
But first taking away doubling and then putting the king on. So now knight d4. There's going to be some queen f4 stuff that you have to be at least careful about. King e7 now.
King e8 anyway? Yeah, king e7 or king e8.
Yep, just bring the king over to the king side and everything is safe and sound for black. You have control of the open file. This is great for black.
Yeah, looks really great. Looks really nice.
So knight c2, does that win the d4 pawn?
Yeah, d4 pawn? Or maybe knight d4, bishop h6 is there. Or
yeah. She just trades queen.
I don't like that. Queen g3. Maybe bishop b2 just.
Huh. To kick the rook away, win the a2 pawn. That looked pretty good.
Yeah.
But she's so active here. Knight d3 can come at any moment. Now knight takes a2 is likely possible. I don't know if she'll.
Yeah, she just really has to be faster.
Yeah.
She's playing really good games. Just time management is a big, big problem here.
Yep. The queen takes h5 is a free pawn. She decides to take b4, which a rook b1 looks awkward because some kind of rook move away. Rook c3 here.
Yeah. Rook c3 is nice. Oh, rook c3 is so nice. Wow, cool.
Yeah. It's the rook on b1. She has 2.2 seconds left, though.
Ooh, yeah.
So she found a good maneuver, but she doesn't have much time to figure it all out. King e8 was necessary because queen d8 was a checkmate threat.
Bishop e7 can I play now?
Yeah, bishop e7 can come next.
She keeps 2 seconds on the clock. That's very nice.
Oh my gosh, 0.1 seconds left.
Oh.
Oh.
Completely winning.
No.
Oh my God. Is it like third game in a row where Jan has lost position?
Yeah.
But wins on time?
Yeah, but that one, she just outplayed him rather than him blundering something.
Yeah.
He really outplayed him in that game.
Yeah. It was impressive game, actually. And she found many good moves.
Yeah. Oh. So another victory for Jan Nepomniachtchi. He increases his already insurmountable lead. And for Alina, the frustration continues.
It does. But I think she should be... Oh, is it trapped?
Yeah.
The queen? Okay.
Yeah. You know, he laughed, she laughed.
Yeah.
Like,
great to see.
Yeah, like both us like, when will this end?
Yeah. Great to see that.
And you know, for Jan, it's kind of a weird territory that he was in this game this match, to begin with, because of course, you know, he's the big favorite and sort of easy to let your guard down and just, you know, at some point, you're like, I don't care how much I win by as long as I win. But you know, to his credit, even the games he's blundered, he's really fought to the very end and won them.
Yeah. And Jan is great.
And right now we have a Snake Benoni.
Yeah. So I always like the bishop on g7 rather than on c7.
Wait, you don't like this bishop on c7? I think it's doing a great job protecting the pawn on d6.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, the Benoni bishop. I mean, there's no spot on c7 for him.
I think this is my style of Benoni. Beautiful, beautiful bishop. I love its open diagonal. Protecting his pawn d6 is very important. It's, you know, doing the duties of a pawn, but in the body of a bishop. That is as selfless as it gets.
Unless you don't get mated on g7.
In which case, I take back my comments. Definitely not selfless. But yeah, no, of course, White's position looks excellent here. You have a passed pawn on c6. You have the two bishops. Your bishop on b2 is a great piece. Your bishop on g2 is also great, and that's why the sacrifice of the exchanges happened. This bishop will plant itself on d5.
d5. That looks... Maybe d5 was necessary instead of rook d8.
Yeah, one of those pawn sacrifices to say, I don't want your bishop to get an outpost in d5, but now it's just it's great for White.
Very bad.
e4 here now.
Ooh.
Now the queen side.
Suffering. Really suffering.
Queen g4 was the only move and should have been played more quickly.
But she's still creating some chances.
Yeah. Bishop d4, I think, will be played.
Yeah.
I just don't really want to allow bishop b6. Something feels iffy about that.
But it's such a nice position. It's like you don't want to win it quickly.
Right. The pieces are all in perfect squares.
Yeah.
e5 was a threat, is not in threat anymore. Okay, renewing the e5 threat, but bishop b6, good move.
Rook d4 was weird, no? e5, yeah.
Trying to protect the bishop.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Yeah, and e6, g6, e7, rook f8 probably wins here. e7, rook e8, rook f8.
Yep.
Bishop g6 also probably mate after rook f7. Anything wins here. Yeah.
But this was a win on the board. That was not just a win on the clock. That was a nice game there by Jan. And here he goes for this b5 setup, which actually isn't like a joke of an opening. It's very real because pawn on b5 stops any c4 moves from being so easy.
Yep. b5. So unusual openings from Jan in bullet section. Yeah.
And he's just trying to get his bishop on the fianchetto square on b7, trying to take over some space. But Alina said, I'm going to take your pawn on b4, which I don't think is a good decision because now look at the queenside structure. This b4 square is black's for the taking because you can't push your pawn back to a3. And this bishop on b7 is hitting g2, which makes it hard for white to develop the bishop on f1. So I like Jan's position.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also like it. And Jan is ahead in development as well.
Yep. Ahead in development, better center.
Yeah.
Looks good. Much more time on the clock.
That looks really good.
As per usual, the time is telling the story here. 30 extra seconds for Nepo.
It does. Elina needs to play faster. It's not easy, but yeah. We've seen some great tactics today.
Right. So what now? King f2? Oh, knight c3 was the threat. Okay, king f2 is decent.
Yeah. Just a minute left for the section to be over. G4. So I guess this is the last game.
Whoa. 1.1 seconds left.
Yeah. No, one more game.
Do we get one more game or is it over?
I guess we get one more game.
Wow. We're treated to just one last one.
Yeah.
Alina's still smiling. Honestly, I applaud her so much.
Yeah.
Because most people would be grouchy, they'd be upset, they would, just want to quit. She's been fighting to the very end, and she's been doing it with class. So Classy L, as I said before, very appropriate username.
Yes, I agree with you. And she takes it easy. That's very nice to see. And Jan is singing, is he?
What do you think he's singing?
I don't know, but it's a nice song, I guess. He's singing with such an emotion.
I think he's singing Dave Matthews Band.
Maybe.
Well, let's see. I'm looking at the head bob. If he starts head bobbing a little more, then I might switch to something a little slower, like Jack Johnson. But I don't think so.
Mm.
I think he listens to more fast-paced music, I guess.
Yeah. Interesting. We'll ask him.
Now he really is singing.
He is.
You must know Russian music.
Not very much. I'm not into Russian or Georgian music.
Okay. So you don't play the Karakhan. You're not into Georgian music.
Yeah. Exactly.
I see how this is happening. Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sorry, go ahead.
Happening in the game.
Yeah, I was going to say, last game here.
Yeah.
G7 is what Jan is trying to target, and that's why he went queen e2 back. This rook is going to try to come exactly to g4. Now f5 is a possibility, opening up the 7th rank to protect g7.
Ooh, right away. Just taking to g7.
Yeah, I don't care about that. The two rooks are better than a queen, so rook c4, threatening d4 now.
Yeah.
And d4 kicks
Queen
his knight away. Rook takes c2. Knight f4, trying to go to h5. Rook c1 check.
Check. That was a bit weird what Jan did there.
He wants to attack, so he wants to go knight h5 and queen g3 kind of things.
Yeah. And time once again. Rook g1, but knight h5, queen g3. Queen h6 now. Ooh. Yep. That looks bad. That looks very bad.
Yep. Knight f6.
Knight f6. King e7. Queen g5.
Discovery. Double check on this king. The knight g8 check would have won a piece. At the very least, so is this actually. Queen e7 check. Next.
Yeah, I guess mate will come soon.
King a4.
King a4 would be a nice try.
Queen c3. Oh, it's not mate. I could have sworn it was mate.
Yeah. Oh, escaped.
King ran away, but you have a knight and a queen for two rooks. So
yeah.
John, this is a matter of straightforward technique.
That is.
Mate. Well, the match is officially over. We are going to take a very short break so we can get the players set up for interview, but stay tuned. I cannot wait to hear the players' thoughts. And we are here with the players themselves after a very hard-fought match. Jan and Nepomniachtchi came out ahead. So Jan, congratulations. And Alina, I want to start with you. You had many promising positions, but unfortunately weren't able to convert them into points. How did you feel like the match could have gone better for you?
From the beginning, somehow, I don't know, my connection was a little bit down. I don't know what happened, maybe because of the wind. Yes, it was pity. We had drawish positions, and then it's okay, I'm just too slow, but Jan is just incredibly fast.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like time was the biggest culprit for you. And Jan, you were playing very quickly and also playing very well. Did you have any particular strategy coming into the match, or you just wanted to play chess and have a good time?
And how do you think?
I think, well, have a good time playing a lot of different openings.
Well, actually, I didn't like the way it was, because it was pain to me because Elina was losing on time all the time in some, let's say, decent positions, and okay, it was a time reason, so I was really unhappy, and well, I didn't enjoy it at all.
Yeah. Sopiko, you have any questions for the players here?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Alina. I know how tough it is to face Jan. He is very strong opponent for anybody, and
strong, but how fast he is!
Yeah.
How is possible to play so fast?
He's really famous for being fast even in
Yeah,
classical.
but okay, you know it, but now so I already tried on myself,
Yeah. That's very tough to experience. I'm just
it's incredible. Just
I'm just interested if you had any goal before coming into this match.
any what?
Any goal? Like, did you have any score in mind?
I wanted to score just a little bit better than Huifan against Nakamura, but
I see.
it was my main task,
I see. Yeah, it is very tough, and Yanni is very strong. We all know it. But you're going to play in Isle of Man very soon. Do you have any goals?
I can revenge him in there.
That was a great practice for you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. This is the only profit I got. So,
what is your goal in that tournament?
What?
What is your goal in Isle of Man?
Just to play good chess, and then results will come.
Yeah, and Jan, you move on to the next round, and you will be facing, Dingley Ren. How do you feel about that matchup next one?
Well, no idea. It depends on when it will be. Each time will it hold, and I'm not sure when is the next round.
Yeah, I'm not. I think it really depends on your schedule.
Yeah, it depends on schedule because okay, something that bothers me more is the upcoming World Cup and some more tournaments. And well, I hope it will be fun, at least fun. I don't care too much about the result, to be honest.
Right. So World Cup starts very soon. What have you been doing to prepare for it? You've been so busy with all these tournaments. Are you tired of playing chess?
Yeah, I'm. At some point, especially in St. Louis, I felt completely exhausted, and I didn't want to play chess at all. But okay, I had to, go for these 11 rounds. So okay, now I'm just trying to have some free time and to sleep well while I'm for a few days in Moscow at my home place.
And I have a question for you as well about the Fischer Random World Championship because you've qualified for the quarterfinals. Do you get enjoyment out of playing the 960 chess because you don't have to worry about opening theory and that all that stuff?
Well, it doesn't really matter. I think the key ideas of the game are all the same. You should fight for the center. You should keep your pieces active. And, in general, yes, it can. The fun part is like you play something like a free with Bish 1 and your opponent blunders and you take on a 7 on the move. That's probably only fun part about random. But okay, that's interesting. I think it is much interesting to play, at least comparing to well-known opening lines when everyone short years. It's a bit different story, but in general, it's all the same. It's basically.
Alina, do you feel the same way about Fischer Random? Do you enjoy it yourself?
Yeah, I like it very much. Yes, it's very interesting. So no preparation at all.
That's very nice to get out of openings.
Yes, but it also can be tricky. It depends on White's position. So I think White has a clear advantage already from the beginning.
Have you ever played a tournament of Fischer Random?
I played once Armenian Championship with our grandmasters, and I scored 1.5 points even.
Great.
Yes, but it's really very interesting. It's I think the creative players they all like Fischer Random, so it's really very interesting. Then it's like an open field for your ideas. So just go on.
I agree with you. Is there something before Isle of Man coming for you? Are you playing it?
No, nothing. Just training camp before that and before European Team Championship. So that will be very busy schedule for me. So I have to be on safe energy mode.
Well, speaking of saving energy mode, we'll let you both get going. We know it's late into the evening for you both. Thank you so much for participating. Jan, good luck in the next round and, of course, the upcoming World Cup. Alina, thank you so much. Congratulations for winning the WSCC. That was a huge achievement, and we'll see you in Isle of Man as well.
Thank you very much. Yes, and it's
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Sopiko.
Different against women and or top the best players. Completely different.
Good luck to both of you in your upcoming events.
Good luck to you, Jan, for your next round, and also in World Cup.
I'll try to do my best.
So I have to root already for you.
Yeah, I had a good training, indeed.
All right. Well, thank you so much, you two. We'll let you go, and we'll pull up the bracket for all of the fans here to see what it looks like the rest of the way. Because we have Jan Nepomniachtchi winning that first round match. He gets to play Ding Liren. And Sopiko, I have to ask you, what do you think about that second round matchup between Jan and Ding?
Ooh, well, it will be very, very interesting match. I still think that Jan is favorite because he's playing so fast and he's been doing great. He has experience. He loves blitz, I think. While Ding, of course, is a genius, but I still think that Jan will win.
Okay, I'm going to go with Ding. I think it's going to be a really close one, but I have to disagree with you. Not because I actually disagree with you necessarily, but because, like any good show, we have to argue about things.
Yeah, of course.
I do think that Ding was very impressive against Shanklin because he got out to this 6-1 lead, and then he started slipping, and then he still came back and proved that he is still a force. But that said, I do think that Shanklin himself would admit that he's not much of an online blitz player. So, Jan is a whole different level of online speed chess player.
Yeah, I think biggest problem for Ding will be the bullet portion.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it will be pretty level match, but that's where I think that Jan will be favorite.
Okay, what about, let's do a brief rundown of the other matchup. So Hikaru versus Dobrov, I think we both think that Hikaru is the heavy favorite and will win that matchup. And as you see on these slides here, let's talk about the next one, the most important match of all. Jan-Krzysztof Duda versus Anish Giri. What do you think about that match?
I've heard in last match, Danny asking that to Siri. Who would win the match between Giri and Duda? Well, I think if I don't say that Anish is the one, then I'll be kicked out of house.
Well, you can see the predictions here saying 50-50. It is just dead even and split here. But Anish is the big underdog in the bullet portion, whereas he's the biggest favorite in the 5-minute portion. And I think that makes sense because Anish is the higher rated of the two players.
Yeah.
Duda proved super strong last year against Karyakin and Grishuk in comeback mode in the bullet portion. So I would say that I also think it's a toss-up. I would give a slight nod to Anish because, he said I saw the pre-match interview saying that Duda is tricky and he's very strong, and he does think it's probably about an even matchup. But I think Anish is slightly stronger in classical chess, and that will carry over into the quicker time controls as well.
I just like that even smart chess predictions, where is Anish, there is 50%, yeah?
Exactly, 50, just total draw, right?
Yeah.
100% of the time.
Even the match, 50-50.
Yeah, the winner of that matchup, they're an 8-9 matchup, so that means they get to play Hikaru in the second round. So it's a tough first round matchup. It gets even more difficult after that, but it seems like Hikaru being 1-3 favorite. And then Aronian, we haven't even talked about him, 1-8, and Wesley So 1-6. I'm a little surprised by that.
Yeah, that's surprising. That's really surprising. Do you agree? I don't.
I don't agree either. I think that Maxime, if I was going to pick somebody after Hikaru, it's Maxime and maybe even Jan, because they're just super talented, super fast, and I think they could give Hikaru a tough time.
Yeah, and they have a lot of experience in online chess.
They do. And, well, Sopiko, we're going to be wrapping up in a second, but any final thoughts about the match we just saw or life in general, whatever you want? The floor is
Life in general. Oh, well, I really enjoyed being here commentating with you once again. I think it was a tough match for Elina, but that was kind of expected. Her goal was to have better score than Hou Yifan, but that's a bit difficult, though she had a lot of chances.
Yeah, and I will just finish up here saying I'm very proud of her because she really held her head high. She had a lot of dignity. She came into the match knowing that she was going to lose the match, but she still came out and fought very valiantly. She played many good games. I was impressed by her play, even if the score doesn't reflect a close match at all. I think that she should be proud of the way she played. And of course, just the rating disparity between them was immense. She should be happy to have been here in the first place. So I wanted to give another shout out to Elina Danielian and say that Jan Nepomniachtchi, to his credit, he's such a chess player that even after the victory, he was still a little bit frustrated with some of the positions he got and winning on time rather than on the board. So kudos to both players. Sopiko, it's been an absolute pleasure for me. I've had a wonderful time once again.
Thank you.
And we're going to be sending everybody to the Champions Showdown, the Fisher Random event happening in St. Louis with none other than Garry Kasparov, Fabiano Caruana, Hikaru Nakamura, Levon Aronian, Veselin Topalov, Wesley So, and last but not least, Peter Svidler and Lenier Dominguez. So that will be with the one, the only Ginger GM, Simon Williams. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Friday will be the next SEC match, but for now, 960 Chess is yours to watch.
Thank you, everybody.